Hey, if you're using your phone to watch something and are tired of propping it up and having it fall back down, try using your sunglasses. Simply place them upside down and use the parts that go around your ears to hold the phone in place. You can put old newspaper at the bottom of your trash bags to absorb food juices. This way, when you come to take out the trash, you don't get that gross liquid dripping onto your floor. If you have flowers that are starting to droop, try placing a copper coin in the water. Copper is a natural fungicide, so adding a penny to the water helps protect your flowers from bacteria. This way, your flowers will stay fresh for longer. You can use the spring from an old pen to stop your charger's wire bending and fraying. Just take out the spring and wrap it around the top of the wire near the connector. Moving objects through a door when it keeps closing is super annoying. So instead, tie a rubber band around the handle on each side of the door so that it crosses over the latch. The latch then won't be able to pop out and the door won't lock shut. You can use a paper clip to find the end of your tape. Simply place the clip under the end of the tape and you'll never have to hunt again. To check whether your bed sheets are fully dried, take a mirror and place it underneath. Leave it there for around 5 minutes, and if it steams up, it means the sheets are still damp. A damp bed can be a breeding ground for mold and other nasty fungi. Running a Post-it note over your laptop keyboard will help get rid of the built-up grime and any pesky bits of food. Now wait, you don't actually eat at the computer, do you? Instead of filling your purse or wallet with store loyalty cards, you can take a photo of them. Just take one snap of the barcode as well as a picture of the front so you know which card it is. Then, when you visit the store, just scan the barcode on your phone to collect your points. Forgot to put your drink in the fridge? Wrap a wet paper towel around it and put it in the freezer. In just 15 minutes, your drink will be ice cold. You can paint the end of your keys with different colored nail polish so you can easily identify which key is which. To stop your wrapping paper from unrolling, you can cut open an old toilet paper roll and use it as a cup. In order to pour the perfect amount of oil or salad dressing, poke holes in the foil seal rather than removing it completely. This prevents a big amount rushing out quickly. To prevent Band-Aids from slipping off your finger, cut a line on either side. The Band-Aid, not the finger. This will create 4 smaller sticky strips rather than one large one, and it will be much easier to secure. When your candle is burned down and the wick is difficult to reach with a lighter, you can use a stick of spaghetti. Just light the end and you'll have a longer stick that burns just as well so you can get to those hard-to-reach places. Secure a rubber band over the top of your paint can so that you can wipe excess paint onto it. This stops paint running down the sides of your can and keeps things neat and tidy. If you're struggling to get your taco shells to stay in place, use a muffin tray. Flip the tray upside down, spray it with oil, and place your tortillas in the gap. Cook them for around 10 minutes at 700 degrees for the perfect crispy taco shell. You can use a water bottle to separate egg yolks. Hold the bottle over the yolk and squeeze it to suck the yolk up. Drop it into a separate bowl and you're good to go. Looking for a lost earring or pin on the floor? Place a stocking over the end of your vacuum and move it over the floor. The small object will get picked up without getting vacuumed. Next time you're struggling to clean your ceiling fan, use a pillowcase. Slide the pillowcase over each blade to wipe off the dust. This way, excess dust is caught inside the pillowcase and won't rain down on you. Poke a straw through your cherries to remove the stems. It's much quicker, and this way you don't waste as much fruit. If you're struggling to put a bracelet on your own hand, try using a paper clip. Open up the paper clip and slip it through the loops on the end of your bracelet. Hold the clip in the middle of your hand with your fingers, then flip the bracelet around your wrist. You should then be able to easily clasp it shut. To properly clean your blender, fill it with soap and hot water. Switch it on for around 10 seconds and let the swirling water do the hard work. Then just rinse it off and it's clean. Put down a strip of masking tape before nailing into plaster walls. The tape should stop the plaster from flaking or spreading dust all over the floor. When you're heating up leftovers, make a space in the middle with a spoon. The food will heat up much more evenly. Avoid the mess and frustration of peeling an orange by slicing off one end of the fruit. Then cut 4 to 6 slices and you'll find the peel will come off much easier. If you're struggling to use your butter because it's too cold, try using a cheese grater. Just grate the butter to make your life much easier. You can make a DIY garden sprinkler using an old plastic bottle. Punch some holes all over the bottle and then tape it to the end of your hose pipe. If your shoes smell bad, put a few dry tea bags into the shoe. The tea bags will absorb the smell. Potato chips are a perfect fire starter. The fat, oil, and chemicals inside make them super easy to burn. And yet, we still eat them. Can you see the irony? Try using toothpaste to remove small scratches on furniture. Rub a pea-size amount on the scratch in a circular motion until the scratch buffs out. Then wipe it with a damp cloth and voila! Candle wax that's been spilled on furniture can be removed with ice cubes. Rather than ruining the finish by trying to scrape it off, fill a plastic bag with ice and let it sit on the wax for a few minutes. The wax will then cool and harden, making it much easier to pick off. Drill a couple of small holes in the bottom of your trash can to stop the bag getting stuck when you pull it down. The holes stop the vacuum-like effect that keeps the bag pinned down. Crayon marks on the wall are a parent's nightmare, but you can use a hairdryer to get them off. Heat the marks for a few seconds to soften the wax, and then you should be able to just wipe it away. If you don't have the correct size coin to put in your shopping cart next time you go to the supermarket, you can use your key instead. If you have a key with a rounded end, you can insert that where the coin would go and the cart should unlock. You can easily remove the sticky residue from jars using cooking oil. Soak a cotton pad in some oil, then rub it on the sticky area. Allow it to sit for a few minutes, then it should wipe away easily. Attach a clothespin just under the head of your toothbrush to stop it from falling onto the dirty countertop. Maybe you should also clean your dirty countertop. To stop heavy flower pots from damaging your surfaces, stick furniture sliders to the bottom of the pot. You can use hair conditioner to make that new wool sweater less itchy. Just soak it in lukewarm water with a couple of tablespoons of conditioner and leave it for 15 minutes. Then just dry it and your sweater will be much softer. You can even wear it while you clean your dirty countertop. Now, a basic sponge and baking soda can make a great eraser for little grease spots, fingerprints, and stains on your walls, or many other painted areas such as furniture or wood fences. Just sprinkle a bit of baking soda on your dry sponge and scrub the stain area in a circular motion. And then use a clean, dry cloth to wipe the baking soda off to get rid of any remaining dirt. If you're worried that this technique might ruin the paint, try just a bit of soda first and see how the surface reacts. If you want to extract the maximum amount of juice from your lemon or lime, put them first in a microwave for 15 seconds. After that, give them a little roll on a hard surface. And now, feel free to use your manual juicer. When you smash some glass or pottery on the floor, it can be pretty hard to notice and pick up all the tiny fragments, especially if the glass is transparent. Guess what can help you? A slice of bread. After you remove all the big pieces, carefully wipe a thick slice of bread across the floor to pick up any tiny fragments. They should just get stuck in the bread. But make sure to do this very carefully or just put on protective gloves. And don't absent-mindedly make yourself a sandwich right afterwards. Hey, just saying. If you're a huge fan of garlic, here's a tip for you. Cut one garlic bulb in half and rub an empty bowl for a nice flavor. Now, you can put your pasta, risotto, or salad in the bowl and enjoy your meal. Pringles tubes are made from a mixture of paper, plastic, and metal. which makes them a good option to organize groceries. You can paint the tubes in a plain color to make them match your stylish minimalistic kitchen, and then attach removable labels on the side. Have you ever struggled with threading a needle? Here's an easy way out. Place your toothbrush on the table and put the thread across the bristles of the brush. Now gently push the needle down over the top. The bristles will help you poke the thread up through the eye effortlessly. Once you got the loop, just use your fingers to pull it through. If you've got these annoying tea stains on your favorite mug that won't wash off, try to apply some toothpaste to your sponge. This is also applicable when you need to make your dirty cutlery shine. It's best to use a mildly abrasive sponge. It's pretty helpful when it comes to removing dark spots on dishes. Now let's say you've recently received a really gorgeous bouquet, but the flowers got this sad look in a blink of an eye. You can extend their living very easily and almost free of charge. First, fill the vase or vase with fresh water and put a couple of teaspoons of sugar. This will help to nourish the flowers. Before you put the flowers back into the vase, cut about an inch off the stem, but make sure to slice it at an angle like this. This trick will increase the surface of water absorption. Repeat this with all the stems, especially with hard ones. Now put the bouquet back into the vase or vase. The flowers should cheer up within 12 hours. If you suffer from cold feet, put them into a vase or vase. No, wait. Use a hairdryer to warm up your slippers before using them. This tip is also applicable to your outdoor winter shoes. Speaking of feet, there's a great way to get rid of unpleasant smells. Apply about 10 drops of your favorite essential oil on 2 cotton balls. Now place the balls into the shoes and leave them overnight. Remove them in the morning and enjoy the fancy smell. You can also mix a couple of your favorite fragrances to customize your shoe fragrance even more. If your drain is a bit dirty and smelly, there's an epic tip to solve this issue. Put down a couple of spoonfuls of baking soda and pour down a little vinegar. And now step back and enjoy the show. It will foam up and help loosen any dirt. We've all tried to light a match outdoors in windy weather and failed. Well, we've been doing it all wrong. There's an easy way to prepare a matchstick in advance using a sharp knife. Carefully carve back the 4 corners just behind the head of the matchstick. Then repeat the same technique one more time so it looks like this. These 8 little splinters will help create a stronger wind-resistant flame. If you have a small wardrobe with limited space for hanging new clothes, remove some metal pull tabs from the tops of old drinking cans. They can make the perfect holding loops for fixing the second hanger. Just put the ring over the hook. This is how you can double and even triple the storage space on one hanging rail. If you need to make an emergency candle, you can use one very common item from your fridge. Have you guessed what it is? Butter. Cut off a piece of chilled butter and place it on a heat-proof dish. Poke a hole straight down through the center using a toothpick or a wooden stick. Now we need a wick. You can use a common cotton string or twine. Cut the corresponding length and poke it through the hole so it goes all the way to the bottom of your candle. Gently coat the end of the wick with butter and light up your brand new DIY candle. Use hair straightening tongs to smooth out those annoying creases on your tie. Or let's say you're working in a shop and you have to deal with fluffy piles of cash. The tongs will help you iron your money to put them in smaller stacks, which then fit neatly into your backpack. Hey, let's not go there. Wow, this zipper is tough. Why can't it slide smoothly like all other zippers? But don't rush to throw away your coat. Grab a bar of soap and gently rub it up and down against the zipper. Repeat it on both sides. Can you feel the difference? Cut one leg off your old tights and put 2 long cardboard tubes inside it. Go ahead and thread it under your internal door with 1 tube on each side. This will protect you from any draft because the tights will seal up any gap under the floor. You can also use this trick when you need to make a full blackout in the room. Just make sure to use thick black tights. Let's say you're visiting a conference in another city, and your schedule will be very busy. You can prepare your outfits for each day in advance and put them into different compartments of your hanging clothes storage organizer this way. Now, put it right down into your suitcase, zip it, and you're ready to go. When you arrive at the hotel, you can just carefully pull out this organizer and hang it in the closet in just 2 seconds. But don't forget to take the shoes too. Is there a way to drive a nail into a wall without hurting your fingers? The answer is yes. Grab your comb and push the nail in between the prongs. This way you'll keep your fleshy fingers far away and safe. And once you've got it started, you can easily slide out the comb and finish driving the nail. If you need an emergency metal scrubby sponge to wash your pot or pan, use a piece of tin foil. Crumple it up into a ball, apply a little bit of dish soap, and your brand new sponge is ready. Now start scrubbing and get ready to be amazed. It works really well, huh? By the way, the tin foil doesn't have to be new. You can recycle the piece you've already used for cooking. And the final tip is for perfectionists. If your shower head has a hard water buildup, the water won't come out straight. To fix this, fill a plastic bag with plain white vinegar. Then put the shower head inside the bag, attach it with a band, and leave it overnight. In the morning, you can give your shower head a little scrub with an old toothbrush or clothes brush. This should help remove the remaining hard water dirt. This trick is also applicable for faucet head. After a bad day at work, you decide to hide yourself from the rest of the world. You turn off your phone and your laptop and lock yourself inside the bathroom. You jump out of your meditation when you hear a beeping sound. It's your toothbrush saying, "Data transfer completed." Your robot vacuum knocks at the door. Looks like it must be after you. Robot vacuums make a map of your home to get around and plan cleaning better. They can share this map with other gadgets via Wi-Fi and store them in the cloud. When advertisers get access to those maps, they can get an idea of your home size, your income level, and lifestyle to send the right ads your way. Vacuums don't have microphones, but their navigation systems can be repurposed to listen to your conversations. They map the room with a laser beam directed at objects. Sound waves affect that light. If you collect that data, you can convert it back into sound waves and identify what someone said. Headphones and microphones are based on the same idea. Headphones turn electrical signals into sound, and microphones turn sound into electrical signals. If you plug your headphones into the microphone jack, they'll work as a microphone. Bad guys learn to do it remotely without your consent. There's malware that retasks your computer output channel into input channel. It can record sounds from across the room even when the headphones are in their jack and the microphone is turned off and disconnected from the computer. Then it compresses the audio and sends it over the internet. There are computer mice that look like regular ones but have microphones and a built-in SIM card in them. The mics are so powerful they can even record whisper and broadcast that audio in real time. To activate it, you have to call the SIM card number and it goes on silently. To deactivate it, you can send an SMS to the same number. Some employers confirmed eavesdropping on their staff using that technology. A smart toothbrush remembers every move you made with it and shares it with you when you're done brushing. It also connects to your iPhone or Android using an app and sends data on your brushing habits to your dentist. They can watch over your brushing process and give you tips on how to take better care of your teeth. Smartwatches, fitness trackers, and other smart wearables monitor your health and can determine if you're walking, running, or driving with their built-in sensors. If third parties get control over that data, they can also monitor your hand movements as you unlock your phone, enter your PIN code at the ATM, or your password at the computer. The gadgets are smart enough to accurately guess all that secret data most of the time. They can also find out the email address you used when you registered with the app to identify who you are. Pacemakers and other health devices send patient data over the internet. In theory, criminals could obtain it during transfer and change it to look like the patient needs hospital treatment. That would make them leave their home, and bad guys could take advantage of the situation. Smart toys that have cameras and microphones in them can record videos and sounds and send them to the toy maker. To keep prices on smart toys lower, they don't add expensive security mechanisms to protect that data. If cybercriminals get a hold of it, they can steal pictures, videos, or audio, and even identify GPS coordinates of the house. LED lights equipped with sensors and connected to video cameras can watch over and listen to conversations over a large distance. This technology was used at one large airport for security and comfort reasons. Cybercriminals went further and learned to use ordinary light bulbs for eavesdropping on conversations. To do it, they need a clean line of sight between a powerful telescope and the bulb of the right thickness. It won't work if you have drapes on your window. When you're talking or listening to music, there are changes in air pressure on the surface of the bulb and it's shaking a bit. A special converter can turn data on the sounds from electrical to digital. Internet-connected thermostats can be operated remotely, and that made them desirable for cybercriminals. They once got access to millions of debit and credit cards data through a large retailer's heating and cooling system. Other bad guys found a way to remotely lock smart thermostats' controls and demanded ransom to unlock them. Smart fridges can tell you when it's time to buy milk, as they track your food preferences and have great connectivity. Smart dishwashers, coffee machines, washers and dryers are also collecting and transmitting your data, even at moments you don't think they're doing it. Criminals can make use of that data to find out a lot about your schedule and guess when you aren't at home. Your voice assistant makes your life easier, but it must listen to you 24/7 to make that possible. They never record anything you say before you activate them with your voice. Everything that follows is stored in the cloud and can be of use for different companies. They can learn what music you like to listen to, what news stories interest you the most, and where you make your reservations. Some companies hire human reviewers to listen to commands to see if voice recognition works well and improve its accuracy. Xbox admitted they also hired people to listen to users' audio to improve voice command features. The problem is that it made some recordings by mistake and strangers were listening to personal chats. Home security cameras can take videos, pictures, and audio recording and upload them to the cloud without you even knowing. Manufacturers say it's done to improve object recognition. You can get access to that camera footage remotely using an app. There are programs that can guess a CCTV password and forward the video stream to a third-party computer. They can also get control over the camera and disable any signs of monitoring, like red light, so it seems inactive. Almost every car has an event data recorder that tracks information on its location, average speed, road condition, and even your preferred route. Your computer on wheels constantly streams that data to its manufacturer. They use it to try to prevent accidents and make other improvements. It's not clear who owns all that car-related information, so in theory, it could end up at a third party. Smart TVs run an operating system just like computers and also have a file system, cameras for video face recognition, and a microphone. They are always connected to the internet, and if cyber criminals get access to a TV, that can change certain settings and record audio even when the TV is off. They could also watch you through the camera and use the smart gadget to move to other devices on the same network, like your laptop. Well, I'm totally creeped out, so what can we do about it? You can disable automatic content recognition to stop your TV from giving you viewing recommendations and limit voice activation function for a safer experience. You'll find that option in General or Advanced settings under Viewing Information or Viewing Data. You can also disconnect it from the cloud altogether. Always change default passwords and usernames on new devices to secure your network. Make up a new password for every gadget every now and then. You can also split your modem and use one Wi-Fi signal for laptops, iPads, and the like, and the other for security cameras. Don't forget to turn off the Wi-Fi router when you leave the house to minimize the risk of a digital intrusion. Whenever possible, enable two-step authentication that demands physical access to the device to log in. Always install software updates as soon as the gadget manufacturer offers you to do it. Updates have patches for detected vulnerability issues. Cover your laptop camera with a dark-colored tape when you aren't using it. Delete your conversations with the voice assistant. You can do it at the manufacturer's website or app. Another option is to activate the Delete by Voice function in Settings. Then you'll be able to tell the assistant to delete what you just said or your last conversations. You can also mute the device when you aren't using it and choose not to send data to manufacturer to help them improve services. If you have a thermostat that connects to your voice assistant, tap the microphone icon on its screen and set voice control to off. You won't be able to activate it remotely, and it won't be able to listen to wake words and send your audio anywhere. Okay, have a nice day.
If you're struggling with opening a container or a jar, don't exert yourself too much. Just run the lid under hot water for half a minute and then dry it for a better grip and see how it magically opens. If you're following a recipe that calls for both garlic and onions, add onions first. When you see they're almost translucent, that's the perfect moment to add garlic. Garlic will cook faster than onions, so if you put both of these products in a pan at the same time, the garlic will burn and your meal won't taste as good. You're a fan of avocados? Here's how you can easily check if one is ripe or not. Just take a look at its tail. If you can pull it out without any difficulties, the avocado is good to eat. If you can't do it easily, better leave it for a couple of days since it's not ripe yet. Here's how you can tell if an egg is fresh or not. Break it and check the yolk. If you can see that it has a clear circle of white surrounding it and is located in the middle, you have a fresh egg. The yolk is supposed to be voluminous too. If it's flat, it's better not to eat the egg. If you see that the white part doesn't have clear borders and your egg spreads around, the chances are it's spoiled. To tell the quality of your eggs, put a raw one while it's still in the shell into a bowl of water. If the egg remains on the bottom, you're good to go. If one of its sides comes closer to the water surface, your egg is not fresh, but you can still eat it. But if it floats, it's not fresh enough to consume. Brushing your teeth in the morning and before you go to bed doesn't have to be the same process. It's important to brush your teeth in the morning, but more so that you have fresh breath. But in the evening, you should brush your teeth more thoroughly because that's how you can prevent bacteria from breeding and protect your gums and teeth. Speaking of bad breath, want to know a good trick to fight it in no time? Cucumber slices. If you don't have a mint within reach, simply eat a slice of cucumber to fix this problem. When you buy natural peanut butter, store it upside down. That way, it won't separate into solids and oils as much. And you'll bring the oils to the top, which is why the peanut butter will be easier to mix. When you put something down for a while, comment it out loud. For example, I've put my phone on the floor right next to my bed. When you do this, you engage multiple parts of your brain, including the language centers, and create a more vivid memory. That way, you'll be less likely to forget about it. You can do the same when you, for example, blow out a candle, unplug your hair straightener, turn off your stove burners, or take your keys, wallet, and other stuff when you leave the house. You'll get rid of many of those moments of doubt that make you wonder if you really did those things. If you visit your friend and bring along something you don't want to forget when you leave, just put it next to your car keys. That's something you definitely can't leave without. If it's hard for you to make a decision, flip a coin. It's not really about letting it decide for you, but while you're waiting to see the result, your mind will automatically start thinking about the outcome you really want, but perhaps can't admit out loud. You're in the supermarket and want to know if the pumpkin you're holding is good or not. Just knock on it. Does it sound as if it's empty inside? That's a good sign. Meanwhile, on the outside, it should be solid. Sometimes we dispose of foods that are still good to consume, like yogurt that's become layered. You know that layer of liquid on the top? That's just whey that contains nutrients. Stir your yogurt to make it smooth because it's still good to eat. When you're buying chicken, check if there's liquid around it. It's better when it doesn't have it. For instance, if you take some frozen chicken out of the freezer and see a lot of ice around the piece, it's better not to eat it. You're moving into a new apartment or house? Set up your bedroom first. Buy a bed before anything else. When you're exhausted after carrying your stuff around and cleaning the whole day, you'll just want to have a comfortable place to rest. Here's a trick that will help you figure out if your coconut oil is adulterated. Leave it in the fridge for half an hour. Coconut oil becomes solid at low temperatures. Adulterant oils detach, and you can see them as a separate layer. When you want to check if an onion has some mold, just take a look at what's under the first layer of peel. Do you see stains that look as if the peel has faded? Mold. Better avoid buying this vegetable. Or make sure to remove all that mold if you've already got it. You can determine whether a lemon is ripe or not by eye. If its skin is smooth and has a rich yellow color, it's ripe. A greenish tint, as well as a pale yellow color, tells you it's ready to be used yet. This one's for coffee lovers. If you really want to enjoy your overall coffee experience, it's way better to buy beans and grind them yourself. Or ask if a salesperson can do it in the store when you buy your coffee. That's the best way to make sure that the product is really made without any extra additions that can be present in a regular ground coffee. If you're looking for a simple way to separate yolks from egg whites, try this. Take a clean and empty plastic water bottle, crack an egg into a bowl, squeeze the bottle over the yolk, and slowly release it. This way, you'll create a vacuum which will make the yolk slide into the bottle. Ta-da! It's separated from the white, just like that. Let's say you lost an earring or some other small item in the house. A vacuum cleaner will help. Just don't forget to pop a stocking over its head. This way, the item won't get lost in the dust and dirt inside the vax bag. You want to take your favorite lotion with you on a trip, but it takes up too much space? Try using a contact lens case. It doesn't need a lot of space and it's a perfect solution for short trips. A hair straightener is a surprisingly good tool when it comes to ironing collars, especially if you're not a fan of regular ironing. When you want to check if your batteries are good or bad, just drop them on the table from approximately 6 inches. If they bounce once and fall right over, they're good to go. If they bounce around more than that, they're either done or on the way out. If your razor doesn't have a plastic cap, just use a binder clip to cover it. And to protect the rest of your stuff if you're packing it with some sensitive items or materials. Nail polish is a simple yet effective way to differentiate your keys, especially if they're all similar. Finally, you don't have to try each of them before getting to the right one. When you're reheating leftovers in a microwave, space out a circle in the middle of your dish. This way, your food will heat up more evenly. Straw is a cool tool to remove strawberry stems. Don't you think? A muffin tin definitely comes in handy when you want to serve different condiments for your barbecue. Plus, it will save you some time with the dishes later.
Now here's a trick. Instead of putting the box grater vertically on top of a plate, put it horizontally, with no plate underneath, of course. This way you won't risk scraping your knuckles because only your fingertips will eventually touch the grater when you reach the end of the process. Also, it gives the grater more stability, when otherwise you'd have to balance the grater or even hold it in the air with the other hand. When you're done, or when there's just too much grated stuff on the bottom wall of the grater, simply turn it on its side to pour the contents into the bowl or plate. Flowers in a vase would stay fresher for longer if not for the bacteria that breed in the water. Since copper has some antibacterial properties, dropping a penny into the water will help keep the microbes at bay and let you enjoy your flowers for that little bit longer. An easy way to check if your bed linen has dried completely is to put a small mirror in between the layers for about 5 minutes. If the mirror has steamed up when you pick it up, it means the sheets are still a bit damp. Let them dry until the mirror stops getting cloudy. A damp bed is a lovely breeding ground for fungi and bacteria. Okay, I'm in. If you have a not very healthy habit of eating in front of your computer, you'll be surprised at how much crumbs and grime there is inside your keyboard. Now, you can just turn it over and shake it vigorously, of course, but that's not very good for any piece of tech, you know. So instead, take a Post-it note and run its sticky part over the keyboard. It will collect the little pieces of trash like magic. Even a better way to do it, though, is to take a slime and stick it to the keyboard, then take it away, squeeze it, and stick again in another part. The slime will fill the entire space between the keys, and its sticky properties will let it gather every little bit of garbage. Separating egg yolks from whites is easier using a plastic bottle. Break the necessary number of eggs into a bowl, and then take an empty plastic bottle and squeeze it. Hold the bottle over the yolk and release. It'll pull in air and the yolk together, leaving the white in the bowl. Repeat with the rest of the yolks and you're done. And that's no yolk. If you're tired of spitting out the stones when eating cherries or want to make a cherry pie, push the stones out with a straw. Also, many garlic presses have a special tool on their handle that can be used exactly for that. Cleaning a blender can be a nuisance if you do it manually. Instead, fill it with hot water and add some liquid soap or detergent, then run it for about 10 seconds. Rinse it afterwards, and it's clean. Plaster walls can crumble, flake, and spread dust all over the floor when you hammer nails into it. Cut a strip of masking tape and stick it to the place you want to hammer a nail in. The tape won't let the plaster crack and crumble, leaving the hole neat and clean. Small scratches and dents on wooden furniture can be removed with some toothpaste or a walnut. For toothpaste, rub a pea-sized amount of it into the scratch until it's gone, then wipe the leftovers with a damp cloth. For a walnut, take a half of that brain-shaped nut and rub it into the dent. Then rub the area with your fingers and buff it with a soft cloth. This will help the wood absorb the oil from the nut, making the scratch sealed and gone. The sticky residue on jars left after you remove the stickers won't be easily removed by water and detergent. So, take some vegetable oil instead. Soak a cotton pad in it and wipe the sticky surface. Let it sit for a while and then wash the oil away together with the residue. If you can't comfortably reach the wick of a candle with a lighter, take a stick of spaghetti. Light up its end and you'll get a burning stick that's easy to use for hard-to-reach places. Now, next time your razor blade's getting dull, try rubbing it backwards on a pair of jeans for regular upkeep. Not while you're wearing them, of course. Make sure you keep the blades dry, too, or even kept in mineral oil. That'll stop them from rusting. Keep all those jelly, ketchup, peanut butter, and mayo fresher for longer in your fridge by turning the contents upside down. This creates a partial vacuum inside the container, helping prevent mold growth. Storing ice cream upside down will prevent freezer burn, too. To bring your permanent marker back to life, simply put a few drops of rubbing alcohol into the felt material inside and shake. Once the felt absorbs the rubbing alcohol for a couple of minutes, the marker will be almost as good as new. Now, don't keep throwing away lettuce that goes black too quickly. Covering it with a dry paper towel and then placing it in an airtight container will help it keep fresher for much longer. This goes for any leafy greens you've got leftovers of. That sharpish bit sticking out of the cap of your favorite cream is there for a reason. These tubes are usually sealed with foil, so unless you love breaking your nails trying to open them, just flip the cap over and push. Your bobby pins might not stay in place if the grooves aren't facing the right way. They should always be on the bottom, close to your head. Still coming loose? Well, put a squeeze of hairspray right onto the bobby pin before you put it in your hair. Now, your cotton rounds pack has those strings on it, so you can hang it on a handy hook in the bathroom. But there's no need to loosen and tighten it back up every time. Check out the bottom of the pack. It has a perforated line. Tear it open carefully, and you're good to go. 2 zips too much? Maybe, but they come in handy as a clever anti-theft device. Just lock them together. Now no one can open your backpack. Don't have a lock on you? You can also tie them together with some string, or even just a paper clip. Anything to slow those pickpockets down. That tiny little button on the back of a shirt collar is used to hold your tie in place. Hey, you don't want your tie trying to escape back there. Shoe manufacturers care about their customers, so most running shoes now have a special anti-blister system pre-installed. Sounds intense, but it's basically just that extra hole on top of your sneakers. Make a loop with the extra hole, inserting the lace backward. Cross your laces and put them through the loops. Now pull the laces down to lock your foot in place. Now run. Yeah, go ahead. Car headrests are all about comfort, and detachable headrests are all about safety. If you pull the headrest out, you'll see 2 sturdy metal bars. If you ever get locked or trapped in your car, you can use the bars to smash the window and get out. If you've got some pesky parsley stuck in your teeth, try this tip. It can be hard to get it out with loose floss. You need more tension, so just tie it in a knot. It's not an accident that soy sauce bottles have 2 spouts. The sauce is liquid and it flows out of the bottle pretty easily once you turn it over. Most Asian food lovers have spilled it at least once in a lifetime. That's why nowadays, restaurants prefer serving soy sauce in special bottles that have 2 spouts. This design allows you to control when and how much sauce will come out. Just put your finger on one spout when you pour the sauce through another. If you press your finger tightly to the spout, the sauce will stop flowing, and if you remove your finger, it'll flow again. And don't forget to ask your server, "Hey, wasabi!" Alright. A hair straightener is an excellent tool, not only for treating your natural curls, but also for fixing crumpled money or documents. You can also use a regular iron for this purpose. Just make sure you don't turn on steaming mode, otherwise there's a risk of damaging the paper. Hair bands are good not only for getting your hair done, but also to open a glass jar with canned food. Your hands might slip on the tightly closed lid, and if you don't open the can from the first attempt, your palms tend to get sweaty, making the task virtually impossible. So, put a hairband on the lid to fix your hand and make your grasp stronger. A simple rubber band will do as well. Now, it's time to take my sweaty palms and go.
So you decided to buy a famous brand garment from a reseller. The price is real good, but something just feels off about it. Check out the stitching. It's one of the less obvious but key giveaways of a fake. It will be straight, neat, and tightly packed on authentic items. All stitches will be made of threads of the same color. Fake ones will have less stitching, as it means fewer costs on production materials. The lines won't be that straight either. Carefully study the logo. On imitations, it's often out of proportion compared to the real thing. The angle and slope might be different, so you'd better check what it should really look like on the official website. Many high-end brands stamp logos directly onto their products, or have metal or leather ones. On real designer items, the logo is always perfect, with no details missing from the company name and no spelling mistakes. There won't be any errors in anything written on the garment whatsoever, not just the logo. The fabric of authentic items won't have any pulls or rips in it. It won't fade or bleed. If the item is supposed to be made of leather, it should feel weighed. If it's made of cotton, try squeezing some fabric in your fist for a few seconds. If it looks like crumpled paper, the manufacturers most likely treated it with a special agent to keep its shape. It will look terrible after the first wash. Take a stretchy part of a dress or a skirt, tug at it, and then let it go. A quality item won't lose its shape after it. Fabric patterns will always match on real items, and zippers will be covered with a strap. These ones are the most reliable and long-lasting, unlike open plastic zippers that often break. All zippers on dresses, skirts, and any other type of clothing should be of the same length and color. Buttons must be secured with no thread sticking out. The buttonholes should be neatly overlocked and evenly cut through. Gently pull the seams apart. If you see some gaps, it's definitely not a high-quality garment. If the coloring on the handles, straps, or fastening looks faded or leaves marks on the folds, that's another sign of a low-quality item genuine brands would never manufacture. Designer items can't come in low-quality packaging. Your prospective high-end purchases will be packed in branded cloth drawstring bags with branded tissue paper. If you're shopping online and the seller won't send you close-up images of details to check, they probably have something to hide. Manufacturers of counterfeit jeans mostly care about recreating their outside and try to produce them as cheaply as possible. They use poor quality materials, so their jeans will feel lighter and thinner. They might also have strange coloring or dye runs. A real inside label for the size and style of jeans should have small stitches close to each other. This micro-stitching is a security device that makes the production process more expensive. A fake label will have longer and wider spaced stitching that won't look that neat. Zippers and their tags are rarely stamped on imitations, and so they look generic. The same is with rivets. The ones on real jeans should carry the logo or manufacturer name. The inside seams are made shorter to save on textile costs. Designer jeans lookalikes will have the cheapest cardboard used for their branding patches on the back and fewer cloth tags than the real thing. A leather patch on the back of genuine jeans won't fade or wither. You can only check this after you've washed them several times though, or if you're buying a second-hand pair. The first thing to check out when shopping for brand sneakers is the box. It shouldn't be damaged. Real sneakers won't have any visible glue stains on the sides. The font on the lettering on the insole should match the size of the shoe and can look unnaturally spaced out and bigger on a faux pair. The size tag is always attached to the bottom of the insole and shouldn't be off-centered. The finishing on the real pair heel tab won't be sloppy. The name of the brand on the back of the shoe has to be perfectly centered. All the letters will be of the same sizing and height. Genuine leather on authentic pairs will feel softer and more comfortable on your foot. They use good quality rubber in authentic pairs, so the midsoles won't start to oxidize and change their color. Sneakers by famous brands will be perfectly symmetrical in every way. You can recognize some designer boots by a certain eyelet shape and a number or the contrasting or matching color of stitches. Those have to be parallel to each other and look professionally done. When shopping for a designer bag, take a close look at the logo. Check its size and see if the plates are clear and have the correct spelling. Interior labels will tell you the manufacturing nation. If it says France or Italy, you have a lower chance of getting a knockoff. Designers mostly add authenticity cards to their bags and mark their items with various serial numbers. Do your research online to find out what the real one should look like for your specific bag. They don't imprint their name on every model, so check if yours is supposed to have it. High-end items hardly ever go on sale. Even if that happens, it's never a clearance price, so don't fall for it. If your dream bag is supposed to be made of genuine leather, make sure it feels and smells like it. If it's super smooth and even, then it's likely a fake. Real leather has a slightly uneven texture. And the real thing can't have a glossy finish. That's another giveaway of an imitation. Count the pockets and make sure they're correctly placed. Fake bags are often recreated from photos, so the lining color might be of the wrong one. It must be exactly of the same color as the bag. The hardware should feel solid and shouldn't chip. The stitching should be perfectly even. Designers will never leave loose threads or back and forth stitching at the end of a seam that makes production cheaper. A high-end watch made of top quality materials can't be too light. An authentic watch will always have better movement than a counterfeit one. The mechanism will be smooth, and you won't hear a loud ticking sound, unlike in a fake. A bad smell, uneven coloring, scratches, and abrasions on the wristband are some more signs of a fake product, both for high-end and medium-priced popular brands. Check out the back cover of your prospective new accessory. It should contain basic information like the logo with the brand name on it without spelling errors, a watch case material, it's usually steel, and information about the Clockwork's mechanism manufacturing country. The engravings will be sharp and clear. Authentic designer glasses will always have the designer logo, manufacturer information, and a barcode or serial code on the retail box. They come in high-quality cases with distinct lettering and even spacing. You can do some research online and find out what your dream pair should be packed like. The lenses on designer shades are always made of superior quality materials and in most cases have a brand name or initials etched on them. If you can scratch the logo and it easily comes off, it's a fake. The real pair with plastic framing can't be too light, and the ones made of stainless steel won't be too heavy. When you try moving the hinges, they won't feel too tight or too floppy. They will be attached using quality molding and screws. When shopping for a cashmere scarf, hold it against light and study the weave. If it looks uneven and irregular, it's more likely to be pure and handcrafted. Only machines can create perfect regular patterns. If it's glowing too much, there is most definitely an amalgam or foreign fiber added to it. Try wearing it around your neck. The real thing will feel soft, smooth, and delicate. As authentic pashmina is hypoallergenic, it also feels warm when you hold it. If you already have a cashmere scarf and doubt its authenticity, check it for bobbles. The real thing will get them over time, just like any other natural fiber. If yours doesn't, it probably has nylon or silk in it. Authentic perfumes have a thick cellophane wrapping sealed in the most careful way to adhere to the box tightly. You won't see wide, uneven seams or excess glue on it. They make real packaging for perfumes from high-quality white paperboard. Check the manufacturer's website and compare the information given there to that on the packaging label. Any mismatch is a sign you're looking at a counterfeit item. Famous brands don't use a lot of dye in their products, so the authentic perfume is usually pale. It always comes in high-quality bottles with a smooth and fine surface, unlike the imitations that are a bit rough and contoured.
You're running through a dark alley looking for that new cafe your friends are waiting at. You can hear all sorts of scary, mysterious sounds. Ouch! What was that? Some monster just jumped right into your head. You sprint for a few more seconds, finally reach your destination, and everyone starts laughing at you. You yell at them to call 911, but then you see in the mirror there's a cat sitting on your head. In case of real emergencies, you can rely on your iPhone to help you out if you activate Emergency SOS. It will turn on a loud siren to let everyone around know you're in trouble or scare away the bad guys. It automatically calls the emergency services in your area to send help your way, and if you decide to turn that feature on, it can also send an automated text message to a contact you choose. To activate that emergency SOS, you have to hold down the lock button and one of your volume buttons together for 5 seconds. You can also enable activation by clicking the screen lock button 5 times in a row in Settings, Emergency SOS, Call with Side button. To use this feature to the fullest, you can assign your emergency contacts. Go to Health app, click on your profile picture, and select Medical ID in the menu that opens next. Tap Edit, scroll down to Emergency Contacts, and tap the Add button. Now you can select one or several people and specify their relationship to you. When you're ready, don't forget to tap Done to save all the changes. Now, in case of trouble, your iPhone will text your emergency contacts your current location and let them know you've activated the SOS. If you're moving, they'll be updated on your final destination. You can also fill in all the medical data in case you're unconscious and should need first responders' help. If you have an Android, you can activate emergency mode by holding up the power key and tapping emergency mode when the power menu opens up. You can also quickly tap the power button 3 times in a row. You'll have to tap the box to agree to emergency mode terms and conditions, of course, and then tap Turn On. If your Android phone doesn't have a power key, you'll have to swipe down on the screen to open Quick Settings and tap the power icon and emergency mode. The screen will go dark, and apps will be limited to help you save battery. It'll let you use the flashlight, sound loud alarms, send your location, and of course, make emergency calls. You can call from the lock screen. Just swipe up and tap Emergency Call to dial the number. You'll see your registered emergency contacts at the top of the screen. You can assign up to 4 of such contacts in Settings, About Phone, Emergency Information. The exact location can differ from phone to phone. It also helps if you fill in all your medical information in this section. If you ever have to use the SOS feature, your phone will take pictures with your front and rear cameras and record ambient audio. This data will be sent to all of your emergency contacts together with your precise location and a message saying, "I need help." If your Android doesn't have service or works without a SIM card, it'll still let you call 911, picking up the signal from another carrier. When you don't need emergency mode anymore, you can tap 3 vertical dots to open more options and choose to turn it off. If you want to know exactly how strong your signal is, turn off Wi-Fi and call this. It will launch the Field Test tool. On older iOS, it shows you a number like in the top left-hand corner of the screen. If you have a newer iOS, it opens up the main menu with device info. Tap LTE and then Serving Cell Mez. The RSRP0 and RSPR1 are your cellular signal strength in numbers. They're more accurate than bars and always negative. The closer the number is to -50, the better. -130 is the worst you can have. On an Android, you can find it out in Settings, More Options, or More Settings. Open About Phone, move to Mobile Networks, then tap Signal Strength. If it's not there, try Network Type or SIM Status. Never turn your phone off in an emergency, even if you're low on battery. If you keep it on, it'll let the emergency services contact you and find you using GPS services. If you don't want to switch to emergency mode for some reason, but want to keep your battery alive for longer, Turn down screen brightness and set your screen to turn off after the shortest possible time. Turn off vibration, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and data roaming, and don't run any apps except for emergency ones. Don't start shutting down background apps one by one, though. Doing it eats more battery than letting them run loose. If you went out with your friends or colleagues and have to go through an unsafe area, you can track everyone's location on WhatsApp using the live location feature. First, you need to give the app permission to see your location in Settings, Apps and Notifications, Advanced, App Permissions, Location, Turn on WhatsApp. Whew! It can differ phone to phone, but should work. Then open the chat and tap Attach. Choose Location and Share Live Location. Here, you can select how long to share it with the participants of an individual or a group chat. Tap Send. You can stop sharing it at any time. You can also share your location in real time or request the whereabouts of your loved ones via Google Trusted Contacts app. If you don't respond to their request for a while when they know you're in transit, it automatically sends them your location. Download offline maps when traveling or going to some new place in your own city. They can help you out in case you're in an unfamiliar area and have poor or no signal at all. Use a password instead of a 4-digit or 6-digit passcode on your phone. You can switch to it in Settings, Touch ID or Face ID in Passcode, Change Passcode. Enter your old passcode, then tip Passcode Options and Custom Alphanumeric Code. Make it a mix of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. Choose a fingerprint over facial recognition. It's possible to fool your phone with a high-quality photo of you to unlock it. Fingerprints aren't that easy to recreate. If you're going through an unsafe area, you can choose to disable biometrics for a while. Go to Settings, Touch ID or Face ID in Passcode, and turn off Touch ID or Face ID. Once you're safe again, you can log your fingerprint or face back into the system. On an Android, you can enable lockdown mode. It lets you instantly disable fingerprint authentication and hides notifications on the lock screen to protect your data. You or someone else who gets hold of your phone will only be able to unlock it by entering the password or PIN. To activate lockdown mode, open Settings, scroll all the way to Security and Location, and there tap Lock Screen Preferences. Choose to enable Show Lockdown option. Then, you'll just have to press and hold the power button to put your phone in that mode. To help your iPhone recognize you faster in any weather conditions, you can add an alternative appearance for Face ID. Put on your winter hat or glasses, cover your face with a scarf, and open Settings, Face ID, and Passcode. Set up an alternative appearance. It works for iOS 12 and later versions. Stock up on emergency apps available for both iPhones and Androids. They can give you instructions on what to do before, during, and after a natural disaster, and even claim your insurance later. Some do it in the form of trivia questions to help you remember. There's an earthquake app that tracks the phones of its users to measure the distance and define the locations where the natural disaster is the most severe. Hopefully, not where you are. Yep, moving objects through a door when it keeps closing is super annoying. So instead, tie a rubber band around the handle on each side of the door so that it crosses over the latch. The latch then won't be able to pop out, and the door won't lock shut. To check whether your bed sheets are fully dried, take a mirror and place it underneath. Leave it there for around 5 minutes, and if it steams up, it means the sheets are still damp. A damp bed can be a breeding ground for mold and other nasty fungi. You can paint the end of your keys with different colored nail polish so that you can easily identify which key is which. In order to pour the perfect amount of oil or salad dressing, poke holes in the foil seal rather than removing it completely. This prevents a big amount rushing out quickly. To prevent Band-Aids from slipping off your finger, cut a line on either side. This will create 4 smaller sticky strips rather than one large one, and it will be much easier to secure. If you enter a public restroom and see a red Solo cup someone put under the seat, better choose another booth. It means there's no toilet paper in this one. The red cup is a frequent replacement for a toilet paper hub, which is also put under the seat for the same reason. Speaking of restrooms, almost any public toilet has a large gap between the floor and the door. The reason for such a zero privacy thing is to actually minimize the level of privacy and comfort so that people won't stay there long and there'd be no lines. It's also to clean and safer if some emergency occurs. Forgot to put your drink in the fridge? Wrap a wet paper towel around it and put it in the freezer. In just 15 minutes, your drink will be ice cold. Instead of filling your purse or wallet with store loyalty cards, you can take a photo of them. Just take one snap of the barcode as well as a picture of the front so you know which card it is. Then, when you visit the store, just scan the barcode on your phone to collect your points. If you're using your phone to watch something and are tired of propping it up and having it fall back down, try using your sunglasses. Simply place them upside down and use the parts that go around your ears to hold the phone in place. Now, if you don't have the correct size coin to put in your shopping cart next time you go to the supermarket, you can use your key instead. If you have a key with a rounded end, you can insert that where the coin would go and the cart should unlock. If you're struggling to get your taco shells to stay in place, use a muffin tray. Flip the tray upside down, spray it with oil, and place your tortillas in the gap. Cook them for around 10 minutes at 700 degrees Fahrenheit for the perfect crispy taco shell. You can use a water bottle to separate egg yolks. Hold the bottle over the yolk and squeeze it to suck the yolk up. Drop it into a separate bowl and you're good to go. Next time you're struggling to clean your ceiling fan, use a pillowcase. Slide the pillowcase over each blade to wipe off the dust. This way, excess dust is caught inside the pillowcase and won't rain down on you. To properly clean your blender, fill it with soap and hot water. Switch it on for around 10 seconds and let the swirling water do the hard work. Then just rinse it off and it's clean. Put down a strip of masking tape before nailing into plaster walls. The tape should stop the plaster from flaking or spreading dust all over the floor. If your shoes smell bad, put a few dry tea bags into the shoe. The tea bags will absorb the smell. Try using toothpaste to remove small scratches on furniture. Rub a peanut-size amount on the scratch in a circular motion until the scratch buffs out. Then wipe it with a damp cloth and voila! Drill a couple of small holes in the bottom of your trash can to stop the bag getting stuck when you pull it out. The holes stop the vacuum-like effect that keeps the bag pinned down. You can easily remove the sticky residue from jars using cooking oil. Soak a cotton pad in some oil, then rub it on the sticky area. Allow it to sit for a few minutes, then it should wipe away easily. Now, you can use hair conditioner to make that new wool sweater less itchy. Just soak it in lukewarm water with a couple of tablespoons of conditioner and leave it for 15 minutes. Then just dry it and your sweater will be much softer. An odor on your fingers can be removed with some minty toothpaste. Rub them together with toothpaste, then rinse them clean. It'll help get rid of the odor and act as a light scrub, too. Now, before you throw out those old sneakers, arm yourself with an old toothbrush and a little toothpaste. Work the paste into the dirty spots and leave it for at least 10 minutes. Wipe it off with a damp cloth and repeat if it didn't do it right the first time. Be careful with colored toothpaste, it may leave stains. Washing your clothes on a low heat, or even better, a cold wash, will make them last twice as long. Drying them on the line, if possible, will also make the material last longer than if you used a dryer. Metal zippers are very durable, but they'll snag more than other kinds of zippers. Just gently rub a bar of soap over the teeth of both sides of the zipper. The residue will help lubricate it, making it easier to slide open and closed. When you can't squeeze any more toothpaste out of your tube, just cut the end off. This will allow you to get what's left inside onto your toothbrush in a pinch. If there's enough for more than one use, place it in a plastic bag for later. Freezing candles before use can make them burn a lot slower. This will cool the wax right down and extend its melting time. A pack of cotton pads has those strings on it so that we can hang it on some hook or holder. And no, there's no need to untighten and tighten the pack again. Look at the bottom of the pack. It has a perforated line. Tear along it, and now you're good to pull out a cotton pad. If you've ever tasted a Nintendo cartridge, you'll confirm that, yes, they taste revolting, leaving a sour, bitterish aftertaste in your mouth. They're covered with denatonium benzoate, one of the most disgusting flavors known. Actually, this taste is kind of a hidden function. It prevents people from swallowing those cartridges. Headrests in a car are about comfort, and detachable headrests are about safety. If you pull the headrest out of the seat, you'll see two bars, which are quite sturdy. If you ever get locked or trapped in a car, you can get out of there smashing the window with these bars. Rough edges on the dimes aren't just about design. The coins used to be made of precious metals to show their real value. People would shave off the edges, spending the shaven coins with the same value, and melt the edges to new coins. To avoid it, minters added that pattern so people could tell if someone cut that coin before. That black grate on a microwave isn't just some fancy decoration. It's called a Faraday shield, and it prevents the rays from escaping the microwave. It also speeds up the heating, so you could enjoy yesterday's leftovers faster. A triple handle on a jerry can is there to make it easier for two people to carry it and distribute the fuel evenly. Gas cans often have a second hole that actually needs to be uncapped too before you pour the gas. The air passage will prevent it from pouring out, so no more fuel waste.
You step out the front door and get in the car. No way around it. There's a chore to be done, and it's not going to be enjoyable. You need groceries. You only needed toilet paper and some oranges, but somehow, you left the store with 4 bags of groceries. It happens. Just gotta put them in the trunk. Oh wait, it's full. There's a bunch of old stuff in there that you were gonna donate. You're not gonna dump your groceries in the back seat either. They might tip over. Here's the solution. Grab yourself a couple of snap hooks. Take your headrest and bring it up just a bit. Now you have space to place the hooks on those metal bits. Now just open the hooks and hang up your bags. Perfect. Oh, you like that? Good. Here's some more knowledge for you to make your life as a driver a bit easier. We've all felt those nasty hot sunny days. Days when you always wish you had a drink in your hand. Well, today is one of those days. At the store, you bought a Coke, the kind you need a bottle opener for. The only problem is, you don't have one. Don't fret. You see these metal things on the seatbelt? They keep you safe, but they're also the exact shape of a bottle opener. Easy. Still got some old DVD cases lying around? Dust one off and get ready to make a sweet car stereo cover. Here's what you do. Grab a pair of scissors and cut off the edges. The idea is to create a flat, almost paper-like cover. The rest is easy. You go down to your car with your new do-it-yourself cover, cut off any extra bits, and place it under the stereo system so it doesn't fall out. Then, all you need to do is close it. Keeps it nice and clean. Plus, no one will get any bad ideas. You're out for a drive, but you left your phone holder at home. Ugh, nuts. Maybe you need a little GPS. Maybe you need to make some calls or record your latest Watch Me Drive Around vlog. So you need to improvise a little. Reach under the seat and pull out some elastic bands. You're obviously not using them for anything. None down there? Check the glove box. Bingo! Next, wrap 1 or 2 bands tightly around the air vent, then shove your phone in the middle. If you do it right, you'll have a do-it-yourself phone holder for when you're in a pinch. If you do it wrong, well, hello modern art. If you've just got your driver's license or even a new car and you're not quite familiar with the feel of it yet, there's a simple trick you can use to get the hang of your new wheels. Take a plastic bottle and place it in front of your car. Then just drive over the bottle a couple of times, forward and backwards. This will help you get a feel for exactly where the wheels are and how big the front of your car is. Okay, so you feel like you've got a hidden artsy side, but you're afraid that you've got no talent. What you need is the perfect art partner, your car. Take a couple of tiny paint bottles and place them in a row, right there on your driveway. Then, prop up a blank canvas right in front of them. You can use a huge piece of cardboard, a stretched out bed sheet, or some nice blank paper. Now, here's the fun part. Get back in the car, start the engine, and drive over them. They'll splash paint all over the canvas and create unique and abstract art. Congratulations, you're officially an artist. When you're driving cross-country, your biggest enemy might be your eyelids. They keep drooping down. If this is you, next time you go on a road trip, pack an air mattress. Feeling a bit drowsy on the road? Pull over somewhere safe, set up your air mattress in the back seat, and take a power nap. You'll wake up feeling good as new, ready to hit the road again. You can even just leave the mattress back there, ready for when you want to rest your head again. If you're traveling with a buddy, they might feel sleepy during the long trip too. This one's a bit easier. Get your car one of those fluffy seatbelt covers. Your co-pilot can just tilt their head to the side and take a nap. Let's just hope they don't snore. Your mirrors might be too small to show you exactly what you need to see on the road. Those blind spots can be annoying, and you can end up with a sore neck from all that twisting around every time you change lanes. With a new and improved 180-degree mirror, you won't have to keep doing your best owl impression. Picture this. You've now got 4 people in the car. Your buddy next to you, sleeping on that awesome seatbelt cover you installed, and 2 other friends bored out of their minds in the back seat, playing with their phones. Before the trip, because you're a good host, you charge up your tablet so that they can watch a movie or something. But who's gonna want to hold the tablet up for 2 whole hours? Just use one of these ready-to-go tablet holders that you can hook onto the front seat. It's like one of those touchscreens that they have on the new airplanes. Hundreds of movies to choose from, private and personal. What a great host! And those backseat passengers deserve even more comfort. Whip out some suction cups and make some extra storage. Your friends didn't even know they needed it. They can hang up some cloth to block the sun, a bag of chips, a portable fan. It's perfect. Until you accidentally roll down their window. The trunk, it's more like a luggage volcano than a tidy closet. It's messy, so why not improvise a do-it-yourself pop-up divider system to keep things tidy? You can use wood or just some trusty cardboard boxes. One section for food, one for useless papers, one for luggage, and one for that road map you haven't used in 10 years. Am I forgetting something? If you're on a long drive, your back might start to hurt, and oh man, you forgot to pack your air mattress. Just chuck a lumbar back support pillow under your seat and pull it out when you're feeling sore. Not all of us are great parkers, let's face it. You might have scraped your car a little now and then when you weren't being too careful. Pick up a few of those awesome rubber chickens that squawk when you squeeze them. Warning, you will look ridiculous, but you'll never scratch your car up again. Okay, get them out before parking and hook them to the front and back corners of your car. When you get too close to a post or wall or someone else's car, the chickens will belt out their epic song. And if you keep going anyway, they'll act as a soft bumper to protect your paint job. You made it home. The trip was a success, and now your car is seriously dirty. There's a few spots that you just can't clean. That's okay. Grab yourself a little slime. Yeah, you heard that right. Slime. Smear it on those spots where the muck just won't come off. That gunk will stick to the other gunk. Now you just wipe it all off. Don't know what slime is? You're in for a fun evening on YouTube. Do you have a fluffy friend that usually rides around with you in the back? Sure, it keeps you company, but wow, does it shed. Look at all that fur it left you as a thank you present. Thanks. You love your dog, but come on, why can't they just shed in the backyard? Okay, dog rant over. Grab yourself a back seat cover, aka a blanket, long enough to cover the seat and the backrest, so even if your canine buddy moves around, all that extra hair goes right on the cover. Just remember to give it its own laundry cycle. You don't want hair all over your clean clothes.
One of the most crucial rules for all those behind the wheel is never drive through standing water during a flood. It may seem like a small puddle at first sight, but in reality, it can be way deeper. Experts claim that a mere 12 inches of water can sweep your car off the road and carry it away. So if you got stuck in the water, climb out of your vehicle. It'll most likely stall after the water gets to the car's electronics. If possible, find higher ground and stay there. But if the water reaches your knees and is moving too fast, get to the roof of your car and wait for help there. Let's say you accidentally drive into a river or lake, or your car falls off a bridge. If you can, immediately roll down all the windows. It seems counterintuitive since the water will rush inside right away, but it's actually a good thing. This way, the pressure outside and inside the car will become equal. It means you'll be able to swim out of the window or even open the door. The main point here is to act quickly before the electronics get wet and stop working. Then you won't be able to do anything. If you need to break the window, opt for a side one. Windshields are harder to smash since they're usually made thicker. After you get out of the car, don't linger around. Swim towards the shore. If you've heard a hurricane or storm with powerful winds approaching, don't risk it. Hide in a closet or a basement if you have one. If you see rising water outside, don't even think of wading it. The chances are it'll knock you over. If you notice the water rising already inside your house, try to get to the roof, but do it only if you know it's safe to do and the wind won't knock you down. Let's say you're lost in the wilderness and suddenly you spot a cave and can make a perfect shelter. You see some wood and tinder nearby, and you've got matches. The odds are in your favor unless you make one grave mistake. Do not build a fire inside the cave. And that's not because of the smoke. The heat coming from the flames is likely to cause the rocks to expand. Then the walls and the ceiling of the cave can collapse, and you may get trapped in a rockfall or landslide. To stay warm and safe at the same time, build a fire right outside the cave. When a person is choking, a constant supply of oxygen to their brain gets cut. That's why it's crucial to provide first aid as soon as possible. But what if you're the one who's choking and alone when it happens? First of all, make a firm fist and position it slightly higher than your belly button. Then cover your fist with your other hand and bend over a table, countertop, or chair. And finally, abruptly shove your fist inward and upward. This will make the stuck object move up. And one more way to help yourself is the head down position. You can use it as a last resort. Bend at your back until your body is almost perpendicular to the floor. Then lean down on your hands as if you're trying to touch the floor with your elbows. If you're tied up and lying in a puddle of mud or muddy water face down, arch your back. This will help get the air to your lungs faster and more easily. But this method won't work as effectively in rough waters. Instead, try to rotate your body. At the moment when your head is above the surface, take a deep breath and don't stop moving toward dry land. While being caught in an avalanche and getting dragged along with a huge mass of snow, try to stay on top of it. Make swimming motions with your whole body as if moving against the river current. Once you feel the avalanche is slowing down, do your best to raise something above its surface. It can be your arm, leg, or a ski pole. This will help rescuers find you faster. With your other hand, make a small air pocket in front of your face. Try to breathe as slowly as you can to save air. To reduce the risk of getting hurt during an accident, keep your hands in the 10 and 2 o'clock position while driving. When your car hits something, this triggers the airbag safety system, and if your hands and arms are blocking the wheel at this moment, it'll end badly. While driving, try not to hunch. Your car's safety systems are designed to protect you, but only if you're in the regular driving position. If an accident did happen and you feel okay, check what parts of the vehicle are damaged. It'll help you figure out if it's safe to remain in the car until help arrives. If you have even the slightest doubt, get out of the car immediately. And if you decide to stay inside, turn off the engine. It'll lower the risk of the vehicle catching on fire. Never go on a hike without something you can use to make a fire. A lighter sounds good, but what if you lose it or drop it in the water? To play it safe, put some matchsticks in a plastic bag with a secure seal. This will protect the matches from getting wet, or you can cover their heads in wax. You can easily do it by dipping the matches into hot wax and leaving them to dry. This will make them waterproof, and when you need to use a match, you can just scrape the wax off the match's head. If you're at sea and spot a whirlpool nearing you, try to keep your cool. If you understand which way it's spinning, ride its side. Then use the whirlpool's current to catapult you out of danger. If you start fighting, you're likely to get pulled inside. There's also a chance a whirlpool will become weaker or dissolve altogether closer to the bottom. If you do get trapped by it, take a deep breath and wait for an opportunity to swim away and up. Imagine you're in the water, your hands and legs securely tied with a rope. First of all, do your best to suppress your instinctive urge to flail. Hold your breath and wait until you get down to the very bottom. Once you feel something solid beneath your feet, bounce off it and get back to the surface. Bend your knees and curl in on yourself. Then arch your back, lift your head above the water, and take a deep breath. Repeat the whole process again and again while moving toward the shore. Smoke is the worst thing about a house fire. If you get trapped in a burning building, try to stay low and crawl toward the nearest exit. The smoke usually rises toward the ceiling, and crouching will prevent you from inhaling it. If you have a piece of cloth, put it against your mouth. It'll act as a filter against the smoke. If the elevator you're in suddenly starts falling, lie down on your back on the floor. Do your best to occupy as much space as possible. Your fat and muscle tissues will absorb most of the impact force. If you can't lie down, sitting is still better than standing, but whatever position you're in, make sure to cover your head. You can do it by putting one arm in front of your face and the other on the back of your neck. If you've fallen through the ice, get back to its edge as fast as you can, but don't try to pull yourself out by grabbing it. The edge will keep breaking, and it'll result in you wearing yourself out very fast. Kick your legs so that your body is positioned horizontally in the water. After that, carefully get onto the ice. Once you've made it there, remain lying. This way, your weight will be distributed over a larger area, and the ice will be less likely to break. Grease fires are very different from forest ones. That's why using water to put them out will not only fail to work, but will also make matters worse. If it's a fire in the kitchen, don't touch the burning pan and don't try to move it. Turn off the oven and put on an oven glove. It'll protect your skin. Then cover the flames with a lid. Do not use a ceramic one. Opt for metal. Use salt or baking soda to put out small fires, but never choose flour, sugar, or baking powder. All this stuff is flammable. Also, don't swat at the fire with a wet towel. It can cause the flames to flare up, or it'll knock the pan down and the fire will spread all over your kitchen.
Endless hot deserts seem lifeless at first glance. But among these sands, you can meet dangerous and sometimes creepy creatures. Some of them can only cause health problems, but some can stay in your memory forever. Let's get to know them, starting with dangerous ones and finishing with real nightmares. So, you're walking through a desert and see a big teddy bear with open hands. You understand that it's probably a mirage, but still, you come closer. You were right. It's not a plush toy, but a giant cactus. There's something strange about it. Thanks to some strange fluff, the branches resemble the arms of a teddy bear. However, this is not fluff, but thousands of thin needles, and they are the reason you shouldn't come closer. The cactus is called the jumping cholla, or teddy bear cholla. It grows in the desert areas of Arizona and in the northern part of Mexico. Don't worry, this cactus won't attack you, but it will cling to your skin or clothes if you touch it. Such a fur coat protects the cactus from animals, creates shade, and saves it from heat. The lateral branches are the most important parts of the plant as they carry out photosynthesis and accumulate a large amount of moisture inside. So, despite all the danger, the cactus can be helpful for desert wanderers. And the danger here is needles. If you look closer at them, you will see they have the shape of hooks. One touch, and hundreds of thorns are already in your finger. It's pretty difficult to get rid of them, and the needles cause unpleasant, painful sensations. But the coolest thing about this cactus is the way it reproduces. The plant clones itself in a new place. When animals and people pass the jumping cholla and touch it, the cactus gives them a small piece of itself, along with the needles. As soon as you throw this piece to the ground, it takes root and starts growing. The degree of danger is rising. The next monster from the desert is running toward us, and that is an ostrich. Many think these animals are cowards hiding their heads in the sand. You will most likely change your mind if you're unlucky enough to meet one. Usually, ostriches are not aggressive, but you should run if you come closer to their nest. On the other hand, you won't be able to do that because ostriches move at a speed of 43 miles per hour. You need a car to get away from them. They run and hit their enemy with their chests. There have been cases when ostriches attacked vans and caused significant damage to them. But the main danger these birds present is their powerful legs with sharp claws. They can deliver strong blows with them and even beat a prone opponent. So yes, if you see an ostrich in the distance, go the other way. This small spotted lizard lives underground almost all the time in the arid deserts of the southwestern US and northwestern Mexico. Sometimes it goes outside to find lunch. It only seems cute, but in fact, it's a dangerous Gila monster. Its thick skin protects the reptile from hawks, coyotes, and other predators. But its main protection is its venom. Snakes and spiders inject their toxins using long, needle-like fangs. The Gila monster clamps down and chews the prey to spread the venom. And when it bites a person, it can keep its jaws closed for a long time. Getting rid of the animal is a tricky feat. People who have experienced the effects of the venom say it feels as if hot magma passes through the veins. Despite this, the lizard turned out to be useful for science. Doctors used its venom to create medicines for diabetes and obesity. The time has come. Now you're about to meet one of the creepiest creatures living in the desert. Be quiet and listen to the silence. Stand still. There's no one around. Suddenly, you hear some hissing coming from below. You lower your head and see it. A big yellow spider the size of a human palm with strong jaws and long legs hides in the shadow of your body. In horror, you run away from this monster, but it goes after you. It isn't easy to do it in this situation, but try to calm down. The creature isn't interested in you. It wants only your shadow to hide from the scorching sun. Anyway, it's better not to touch it. The powerful jaws of the camel spider can cause unpleasant sensations, to put it mildly. And, by the way, this creature isn't really a spider. Yeah, it belongs to the class of arachnids, but it's a separate species, Sulpagid. It likes to bite. It's fearless and pretty aggressive. The spider preys on insects, lizards, rodents, and small birds. It can also move at a speed of 10 miles per hour. For their small size, this is very fast. You need to be a professional athlete to run away from it. Most often, you can find camel spiders in the deserts of the Middle East, but they also live in Mexico and the southwestern US. These runners are nocturnal and try to avoid the sun during the day, so they are always hunting your shadow. By the way, they got their name because they often hide in the shadows of camels. You won't hide from them during the day, but they will also want to come after you at night, especially if you make a fire. Sulpugids always run to the light in the hope of eating something. Some species of these spiders make a hissing sound to scare their enemies away. Now, let's calm down for a second and leave the hot desert. We're going into the humid tropics of Tanzania. Under tree bark, fallen leaves, and in dark caves, you can meet one of the most terrifying creatures on Earth, a tailless whip scorpion. Imagine a big scorpion without a tail, with a flat body that looks like it has been pressed by something. It's similar to spiders, but has no venom glands and can't spin a web. This monster is silent and fast, but the scariest thing is its 2 front claws, twice as long as the creature itself. Any prey it catches will never escape. Life in a dark cave has spoiled its eyesight, so the whip scorpion tries to avoid sunlight. During molting, it climbs up to the ceiling and slowly comes out of its old skin. Imagine directing your flashlight there and seeing small cocoons out of which pale spiders with excessively long legs crawl. If you really meet it, be calm and slowly go away as far as possible. Be careful. The flat scorpion can crawl under your clothes in a second and bite you in the stomach. And that's not the worst part. Okay, this is a joke. This pretty guy is one of the shyest and most harmless creatures among spiders and scorpions. It's afraid of you and will never attack. Many consider it beautiful and keep whip scorpions in glass terrariums. If you want such a pet, carefully watch it so that it doesn't run away from its house. If it happens, it will be pretty challenging to catch it again. In a matter of moments, it can get under your bed or go through gaps in the floor. Then it'll go to your neighbor's apartment through a ventilation system and scare people there. Okay, how about one more scorpion? It's not as creepy as the other creatures in this video, but it's the most venomous scorpion in the USA. This is the Arizona bark scorpion. The problem is that you can see it in the desert, in your home, or in the yard. These dangerous venomous beasts crawl into rooms and often sting people. One time is enough to cause pain, similar to a bee sting, but someone with an allergy may experience paralysis, breathing problems, and other health issues.
Well, it's a nice Sunday afternoon and you're shopping at your regular grocery store when you stumble upon a bloated package in the fresh produce aisle. You check the product information. It seems well within its expiration date. Then why the unusual shape, you may wonder? The answer is not always straightforward. For some types of fresh products, such as meat, fish, or seafood, sometimes even salads and cheese, scientists came up with something called MAP, or Modified Atmosphere Packaging, to ensure that these types of products with a relatively short shelf life stay fresh for as long as possible. A combination of gases is introduced in the packaging. It happens even before the product reaches your local grocery store. A French professor at the Montpellier School of Pharmacy stumbled upon this method after he noticed that fruits tend to stay fresh for longer periods of time in low-oxygen storage conditions. The types of gases in MAP's packaging can vary from product to product, but the main idea is to replace or reduce the content of oxygen. It's generally replaced with either nitrogen or carbon dioxide. Keep in mind that just because a bloated bag of salad is within its expiration date, it doesn't mean it's always safe to eat. The gases inside the bag may very well be there for their own purpose, but they can also be a sign that the product is spoiled. That's why the best course of action when shopping would be to check if the product is not expired. If it's still within the date, check for any unusual odors or damage to the packaging. If something seems off, it's best not to risk it. You can reach out to any of the store staff if you have any questions or concerns. Most supermarkets these days have a layout which allows for a logical shopping order, like buying non-perishable items first, then adding refrigerated or frozen products. Fruits and vegetables should come last since you won't want them at the bottom of your shopping cart. Nobody likes a squished tomato. While I'm on the subject of fruits and veggies, try to get them earlier in the morning if possible. Veggies that have been sitting out all day may lose some of their shape and texture, while others may be a bit wilted away. Quick tip on waste management: never buy more produce than you intend to use in a week. Most fruits and vegetables don't even last that long, so it's best not to give in to cravings. Shopping on a full stomach might help with that as well, just as much as going shopping with a pre-made list of things you need to buy. Thoroughly inspecting the package of every product might save you some hustle later as well. Refrigerated products need to feel cold to the touch, whilst frozen ones need to be solid and with no sign of leakage. When you get home, make sure you refrigerate all the necessary items as soon as possible. Generally, they shouldn't be out of the refrigerator for more than 2 hours. Otherwise, their quality won't stay the same. Buying potted herbs from the grocery store may not be the first thing on your list, but it's surely something to consider. Not only are they available for a fraction of the cost, but they're also easy to grow and take care of. Just picture a nice herb garden right there on your balcony or even in the kitchen. Wouldn't that be nice? You'll always have fresh basil to top a mouth-watering pasta dish. Since you're still at the grocery store, pick up some coffee filters while you're at it. You may not have a machine at home that actually uses filters, but there are a lot more things you can use them for around the house. They can be used for straining liquids, safely stacking delicate china in your cupboards, or even polishing windows, or shoes for that matter. If your favorite fruits and vegetables are on sale, but buying large quantities would mean they'd go to waste, consider freezing them. You can stock up on items for smoothies, especially for the colder season when there are limited options for fresh fruits. And don't just grab the first thing on the shelf, especially if it's likely to go bad quickly. Stores restock their produce following a first-in, first-out layout, so the items at the back of the shelf will always be a tad bit fresher. The same goes for tea if you prefer it to coffee. Switch to buying loose-leaf tea, and you'll not only reduce the cost, you'll also be able to make your own homemade tea blends. Loose-leaf tea also has a stronger flavor than tea sold in tea bags. As for the other household stuff, stock up on items such as light bulbs, paper towels, or batteries. Chances are you'll always be needing at least one of these items, so it's best to buy them in larger quantities when on sale. They never go to waste, and let's face it, it's always annoying when you run out of batteries at home and your TV remote stops working. Hey, tell me about it. Try to reduce the number of times you go to the grocery store to buy just one item. It's inefficient, and most likely, you'll end up buying things that you don't actually need. That shopping list starts to make a lot more sense now, doesn't it? Another list worth making, the one containing whatever you have in the fridge. Try to create such a list at least twice a week. Meal planning for at least a week in advance will also help you reduce impulse buying. If you already know what you'll want for dinner on Wednesday, why add anything else to the cart if it's unnecessary? At the same time, start getting creative with your leftovers. There's no need for them to go to waste when you can mix and match or add some additional herbs and flavors to spice them up. Store leftovers in transparent containers for added visibility, and don't be afraid to set out a leftover day during the week. It's also nice to look at them as ingredients rather than leftovers. Use extra leftover pasta or steamed vegetables for a frittata or an omelet. Blend together cooked vegetables with some tomatoes to create a pasta sauce. Put together some wraps for the next day's lunch with anything from leftover cooked rice to meat and vegetables. Or, if you're really looking for the easiest method to save leftovers, you can always turn them into soup. Last night's vegetable side dish can turn into a wholesome lunch if you simply add a can of broth and blend it all together. Even a 2-day-old loaf of bread can be salvaged if you cut it diagonally, sprinkle the slices with some herbs and olive oil, and pop them in the oven for a couple of minutes. You'll then have yourself some nice homemade croutons for that previously mentioned soup. A little label know-how never hurt anyone either. Be on the lookout for ingredients you've never heard of or those you can't pronounce. An item that usually has more than 5 ingredients listed on the packaging should be avoided. Even the way you carry your groceries in the supermarket can affect how and what you buy. If you prefer baskets to shopping carts, you're more prone to impulse searches. That's what a study published by the Journal of Marketing Research claims. It happens due to the effort you put in actually carrying the items around. Choosing a shopping cart will most likely make you comfortable enough to browse through enough products and read labels thoroughly. When your grocery list is not too big, go for the self-checkout aisle if available. Studies have shown that impulse purchases are lowered by up to 32% if you actually scan your own items on the way out. That's because the regular checkout line is specially designed to keep you from letting go of any items you might have reconsidered buying. There's literally nowhere you can put down your undesired products outside of your grocery cart, and if there's anyone else waiting in line behind you, good luck sliding out. The food arrangement on the shelves can also pose a threat to both your budget and your habits. Since people are more inclined to buy the items they see first, the most expensive products are placed at eye level, and the budget options are placed on the top and bottom shelf. Take your time and scan your aisles of interest. You'll be surprised to see that most items placed on higher or lower shelves are often not only more cost-effective, but also less packed with additives or artificial flavoring. Hey, be careful. It's a jungle in there. Well, you had a busy day sightseeing in a new city. You constantly used navigation, took 5,000 pictures, and video called your best friend every 10 minutes. All this drained your phone battery to 12%. And you still have to do a live stream of fireworks, book a room for the night, and find your way there. You decide to try all the possible ways to save battery somehow. You shut down all the apps one by one. Bye-bye Messenger, photo editing app, no more shopping online, force quit this and that. And your battery drops to 7%. You want to spend them wisely and Google the matter. Turns out, closing background apps eats more battery than letting them run loose. When you force quit an app, your phone spends its precious juice on closing the app and clearing it from RAM. And when you decide to open the app again, it'll spend more resources on bringing it back to life. When you leave one app and start using a different one, the first one is stored in RAM. It sits there quietly, in the ready to relaunch in exactly the same condition state, and will jump back into action without wasting any extra battery, time, or data. Your phone has its own memory management mechanisms. It'll close the apps that you haven't used for a long time or the ones that are using more battery than they should. You can help the system work smoothly and fast by not trying to do the job for the phone and let it decide which apps to keep running in the background. So you realize your phone won't last the evening, so you hop into the nearest hotel. Someone told you it helps if you drain the battery completely, but the internet says it's another myth. Batteries used in phones over 10 years ago lasted longer if you dropped them to zero before plugging the phone into an electricity source. Lithium-ion batteries used these days prefer going at somewhere between 30% and 80%. If you often let it drain completely before charging it again, you're adding unnecessary charge cycles. In that case, be prepared to replace the battery every 6 months or so. Now you need to charge your phone as fast as possible not to miss the fireworks. You remember everything you know about express charging and take the case off. Most of them are made of materials that stop the heat from going out. The lithium-ion battery inside your phone is most effective when it's cool. Too much heat slows it down and wears it out. The higher the temperature, the slower the charging process. There's a charging dock in your hotel room, but you don't use it. Energy transfers faster through a physical cable. Plus, all that energy spreading around on the charging pad or stand heats up your phone, which is no good. A USB port on your computer won't do your gadget any harm because it has a lower amperage, but it will do the job about 2 times slower. So you stick to a wall socket. Looks like it's too high and the phone will hang loose, which isn't safe. So you make a loop out of the cord and put your phone in that loop. It has to lie steadily in there not to drop out. Your phone charges by 5%, and you start scrolling down your newsfeed. It's safe to use the phone while it's charging, but it'll seriously slow down the process. Instead, turn on airplane mode. It speeds up the charging process thanks to shutting down all possible radios like cellular, GPS, Bluetooth and the like, and all sounds. Plus, if you're in an area with bad coverage, it won't waste battery looking for signal. Your iPhone charges up to 80%. Most of them have optimized battery charging on by default. It studies your charging habits and slows down charging after 80% when you're sleeping or in some other situations. While you're connected to a power source, you update your OS. The latest version will always have patches and fixes for all sorts of issues, including charging problems. And newer operating systems work better with newer technologies, like the fast charging feature on Androids. Done! Time to go see the fireworks. On your way there, you run into a store that sells fast chargers. You never trusted those, but a salesperson explains they're safe for your phone. They skyrocket to 60% in 10 to 30 minutes, and then charge at a regular speed to avoid too much current running into your phone. You can also pick up a new charger. Quality third-party ones have built-in safety mechanisms just like the original chargers and won't do your phone any harm. If your phone can handle 12 watts, getting a 10-watt charger will speed up the process. Most phones come with 5-watt chargers. A good cable can also be a real game changer. There are 4 wires inside any of them, 2 for data transfer and 2 for charging. They set the limit to charging speed. The salesperson explains that if you want to go faster, you can upgrade from a standard cable to a high-quality one. You listen so attentively that you accidentally drop some soda on your old charger. Now you have no other choice but to replace it. Even a tiny drop of water or sweat can slow down the process or ruin it all. The salesperson also checked your lightning port. If there's a buildup of dust and lint in there, just like your belly button, you can't expect it to fly at the speed of lightning anymore. He carefully removes the clog up from the port with a toothpick. You can do the same at home. Your new friend hands you a manual on how to save battery, and you study it on the go. The first thing you do is change your wallpaper. Most new phones have an OLED display. When you see a dark wallpaper, it doesn't have to waste power on lighting up black pixels. So the larger the dark areas on the screen, the less battery it eats. You also turn on dark mode. It boosts up the battery a lot. To activate it, you open Settings, Display and Brightness, and choose the dark option. You can choose to activate it at sunset or sunrise automatically every day. Android owners can do it in Display Advanced. Find Device Theme near the bottom of the feature list and activate the dark setting. You deactivate the automatic brightness mode in Settings, Accessibility, Display, and Text Size. It's brought to you by a light sensor that spends even more power on collecting and analyzing data about the surroundings to pick the right light level. If you have an Android, you can do it in Settings, Display. Choose to disable auto brightness or adaptive brightness. So you manually dim your screen brightness to a comfortable level. You also shorten the auto lock time to a minimum. The sooner your screen goes off when you aren't using your phone, the less energy it's eating. You can adjust it in Settings, Display and Brightness, Auto Lock. On an Android, you can find it in Menu, Settings, Screen or Display. Here, you can select the right time period under Timeout or Screen Timeout. Boy, do I know about timeouts. The sun is about to set, but it's still super warm outside. That's not good for your battery that doesn't like extreme temperatures. That's why you shouldn't drop it in the car seat under the sun or use it when it's above 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Crazy cold isn't much better. You'll see your battery drop and then go back to normal as it warms up. But it isn't healthy. Ring ring, you just got a promo email. Unless you need to stay up to date for work, you should be fine with your phone fetching mail every 30 minutes, hourly, or even manual checks for a secondary email. You can set your interval in Settings, Accounts, and Passwords under Fetch New Data. The longer the interval, the more battery you're saving. On an Android, go to the Settings menu and choose Email. In Common Settings section, tap on Settings menu. Select the account to adjust the settings, tap on Sync Settings, Sync Schedule, Set Sync Schedule, and pick the interval you like. You still have enough battery to find the best firework viewing location. It's to the right and up the hill. Wow, what a view! Now you can disable location services and start that live stream everyone has been waiting for. Well, it's that time of year again, spring cleaning. Making your way outside, you grab the duster and broom to get rid of all those cobwebs on your windows. They don't stand a chance this time. Removing one cobweb after the other, you suddenly notice some weird-shaped mud stuck under the eaves and porch. What's this? It suddenly dawns on you. These have to be mud dauber wasp nests. You're probably thinking there's a swarm of them around with so many nests being side by side. Luckily, mud dauber wasps are solitary insects. Whew! All those little mud huts are filled with paralyzed spiders. Sometimes, even up to 500 spiders can be trapped in these lockers, just waiting for the wasp young to hatch. If the nest has holes, it may indicate the nest is inactive or old, as mud dauber wasps create holes when they leave the nest. If you're not going to remove them, it's best to wait till nighttime when they're not as active. While they're pretty placid, if they feel threatened, they won't hesitate to sting. Looking like someone got halfway through building one insect and forgot what part came next, the mole cricket is one insect that really looks out of this world. With claws like a mole, a body of a cricket, and the head of a shrimp, this critter is like the platypus of the insect world. They're not venomous and will only bite if you trap them inside your hand. And if you really annoy it, it's got something else up its sleeve – the wings. They can spit a foul-smelling brown liquid from their body, just like a skunk. So just let them leave your home and there will be nothing to clean up. Rock pools are teeming with all sorts of plant and animal life. Sea creatures such as starfish, seagrass, hermit crabs, tiny fish, and all types of octopuses. If you come across this tiny blue-ringed octopus, it's best to leave it alone. It's flashing neon blue at you for a reason. This miniature octopus has a venomous bite that's 1,000 times stronger than cyanide, with no antidote available. Don't poke it with a stick or try to pick one up. It's not worth the trip to the hospital or the morgue. Snakes on land are scary, but sea snakes are on an entirely different level. Found in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, there are about 50 different species of sea snakes, and they're beautiful as much as they're dangerous. Luckily, they don't seem to worry about us too much. The Dubois sea snake is arguably the most venomous snake in the ocean, with the big sea snake not far behind. Their venom makes a cobra's bite seem like a walk in the park. The venom of both these snakes is extremely dangerous. Good thing for us that their venom can take hours to cause any symptoms in humans. If they can bite through your wetsuit, that is. Now, if this fly lands on your arm outside, you might just scream a little. Hey, I wouldn't blame you. The scorpion fly, as its name suggests, has a curved tail that looks just like a scorpion stinger. But you can breathe a sigh of relief. This is only used for mating. It also has a long beak-like head that's used to feed after stealing insects from spiders' webs. To find the perfect partner, they love to give the equivalent of a box of chocolates and flowers, except theirs is saliva. How romantic. If you happen to be in Africa, you might just miss this large bird if you're not paying attention. The shoebill will just casually stand still as you walk right on by. Growing up to 5 feet tall with an 8-foot wingspan, the shoebill sounds like an apex predator, though it's anything but. Known as one of the most slow-moving birds, almost statue-like, the shoebill just eats fish near the surface of the water without a care in the world. This bird isn't afraid of humans at all. While they won't naturally come over to talk about the weather, they'll allow us to get close enough for some photos. Now, if you hear a small squeaking sound while you're in the garden, it could be a mouse, a squirrel, or a rhinoceros beetle is letting you know that you are too close. They love to make a racket when bothered. With a giant scary horn on top of their head, they might seem like they're able to defend themselves with it, but that's not possible at all. That's only to move leaves and sticks out of their way, and to stop other males from coming into the female beetle's area. Not only have they got a horn on their head, but they've also got Herculean strength, able to lift 850 times their own weight. It's like you or me lifting 65 tons or 11 elephants. Hey, let's try it. Nah. Found mainly in China, the small tufted deer looks adorable with its tuft of hair. That is, until it turns around. Oh no, it's a vampire deer! Luckily, this animal doesn't want to taste your blood or wear a cape. Only males grow these during the mating season rather than antlers to fight over territories and female tufted deer. These fangs are more like elephant tusks than sharp teeth. Not only do they have fangs, but they're also known to bark like a dog and flee like a cat when they're scared. Red sky at night, sailor's delight. Red sky in the morning, sailor's warning. No one said anything about a red tide, though. The red tide is a toxic algal bloom that rises up from the seafloor after particularly bad storms. This algae looks a lot like spilled ketchup or rust in the water, but it's much worse for the life around it. Fish and marine life will try to escape once exposed to the toxic algae in their water. It's not particularly harmful to humans who are exposed to it, but if you eat seafood contaminated with its toxins, things can become a bit more serious. So, if the sea is red, just stay out of the water. Some spiders love to show off with bright colors to show they're dangerous. Not the Sydney funnel web spider of Australia. This glossy black spider doesn't need theatrics to prove it's tough. These bad-tempered crawlers cause serious alarm when they decide to bite us. It can shut down our entire nervous system in as little as 30 minutes. Making their web in any shelter, like old logs, shoes, or even garden gnomes, the funnel web spiders like to live close to our surroundings for easy food. When they get tired of an area, they just leave their web behind and wander off to find somewhere new. Perfect. Some say honey badgers don't care, and I think they might be right. When you're brave enough to take food away from a jaguar, lion, or hyena, hey, what do you got to fear? These tough relatives of the weasel aren't just ferocious, they're super smart. Known to even use tools to escape from enclosures. Objects like rakes, stones, and mud just become things to climb for freedom. Aside from their physical similarities to the skunk, the honey badger also boasts a dangerous gland in its tail containing a powerful stink machine. So they're tough, stinky, have extremely stretchy and strong skin, and to top it all off, they've got a strong immunity to scorpions and snakes. The best thing to do if you walk into a honey badger is to leave it alone. What chance do we have? Ever heard of the fungus strawberries and cream? No? What about its other name, the bleeding tooth fungus? This fungus isn't toxic, but tastes so bitter that you might think twice about trying some. When young and growing, this white mushroom appears to have red jelly coming out of its pores. This sticky liquid is sap that's pushed up from taking on too much water. The adult mushroom is just a boring beige compared to this. Underneath the mushroom cap, where its spores are produced, it has a tooth-like structure, just to make it even weirder. Tasmanian devils have a reputation for being bad-tempered when threatened by a predator, fighting other males, or getting a place at the table for dinner. They're dubbed devils because of the teeth-baring, lunging, and one of the scariest shrieks you'll ever hear in the middle of the night. They'll also eat pretty much anything they can get a hold of, too. They don't habitually go for people, although they will defend themselves if they're cornered. With such a powerful bite, you wouldn't want to be on the receiving end. Good thing the Tassie devils would much rather escape as well. Well, it's time to stretch your legs and take a walk in the park. The sun is shining, and you enjoy the weather and life on the whole. That's when you spot a rapidly growing vertical cloud. Bright white at first, it's approaching alarmingly fast, becoming dense and inky. The sky is darkening, and a gust of wind blows the hat off your head. And then your hair starts to stand on end. That's your cue to run for your life. You're about to be hit by lightning. At this very moment, positive charges are rising through your body. They're reaching toward the negatively charged part of the storm. If you don't react fast, these charges will meet, and it'll end badly for you. If there's nowhere you can hide, crouch down and try to make yourself smaller than the objects around you. Don't lie flat on the ground. It may be wet and thus a great conductor of electricity. There are also other signs that scream danger during a lightning storm. Your palms may begin to sweat. You might hear bizarre crackling, buzzing, or vibrating sounds coming from metal objects nearby. Your skin can start to tingle. There might be a strange metallic taste in your mouth. If you're sure you're not chewing on tinfoil, then look out. Plus, you're likely to smell chlorine. That's ozone. Electrical charges split the molecules of nitrogen and oxygen, which are the main gases forming the atmosphere, into separate atoms. When these atoms come together again, some of them produce molecules made up of 3 oxygen atoms. That's ozone. You can smell it during a thunderstorm because downdrafts bring it from high altitudes to your nose level. You can figure out how close a thunderstorm is by measuring the time between spotting the lightning and hearing the thunder. Every 5 seconds is 1 mile. The sky over your head is darkening and turning ominously green. Something hits you on the cheek. Ouch, it hurts. You pick up the offending object. It's a massive hailstone. But it's not that cold outside, and it's not raining. You notice how still everything is, how quiet. There's no wind whatsoever. It makes you think about the calm before the storm. And indeed, soon you hear some noise. It's approaching rapidly and turns into a loud roar, as if a freight train is moving towards you. Only, it's not a train. It's a tornado, and you have almost no time to escape. The funnel isn't visible behind a cloud of debris. But you can't mistake this rotating column of air for anything else. If the tornado catches you on the road, get as far from your car as you can. This will prevent the vehicle from being hurtled toward you. Find a ditch, lie down in it, and cover your head. If you're inside, get away from windows and hide underground if possible. Now, you're at the seaside, walking along the shore and enjoying a light breeze. Suddenly, the ground starts shaking under your feet. Must be an earthquake. The next weirdness you notice is the water retreating from the beach at breakneck speed. It leaves behind the exposed ocean floor, reefs, and even fish. That's when you hear a distant roaring sound. It's a tsunami, and you only have a few minutes to save your life. Get to high ground immediately. A giant wave is already speeding toward the shore. It's not the only way a tsunami can creep up on you. It doesn't necessarily come crashing against the shore as a series of huge waves. A tsunami can look like a rapidly rising tide. It usually goes hand in hand with severe underwater turbulence. It pulls people under the surface and tosses heavy objects around. You can also notice seawater bubbling, swirling, and creating bizarre patterns. It's another sure sign a tsunami's coming. Your dog's restless. It's scratching the entrance door, roaming around the apartment, and trying to hide in the corner. Usually calm and docile, the pooch is now howling and barking. The weather's also been crazy for the past several days. It's hot one day and chilly 24 hours later. Plus, you've noticed that the stream near your house has livened up, bubbling as it's rushing past. Only when glasses start to clink in your cupboard do you realize what it means. The clatter is produced by foreshocks, tiny earthquakes leading up to the main event. Earthquakes often occur in clusters. If there are several weak quakes, a much bigger one might be on the way. Sometime before the disaster strikes, you might notice bizarre blue lights. Some of them seem to be coming from the ground, others are hovering in the air. These are so-called earthquake lights. Emitted from rocks under great stress, they can be seen days or mere seconds before the ground starts shaking. At the same time, some experts doubt earthquake lights exist. If you think an earthquake is about to happen and there's a catfish in your aquarium, pay attention to its behavior. Scientists have proved this species can react to earth tremors. The fish become restless when seismic activity is high. Some bugs can feel a storm coming. They get ready for the natural disaster by stopping any movement. That's why, if you notice that lots of insects around you look drowsy, search for shelter. As for bees, they can predict heavy rainstorms. They begin to work much harder the day before it starts raining. Square waves occur when two wave patterns crash into each other. This phenomenon looks awesome, but only if you're watching it from the shore. Don't even think of getting in the water to play in such waves. In that place, there are cross currents that can easily pull even a skilled swimmer under the surface. And if you see wild, choppy waves carrying ocean debris and seaweed, stay out of the water too. It can be a sign of a strong rip current. It can carry you far away from the ocean. If you see smelly green stuff on the surface of a lake or sea, stay away from the water. It can be a hazardous algal bloom. You won't be able to tell whether it's toxic or not at first sight. That's why it's better to steer clear of it altogether. 3 or 4 days before a hurricane arrives, the sea or ocean surface can swell up to 6 feet. Waves hit the shore every 9 seconds. The closer the hurricane, the more rapidly the waves crash against the shore. They also get higher, sometimes up to 16 feet. The sky is littered with light, fluffy clouds. Roughly 36 hours before the hurricane reaches the shore, the atmospheric pressure begins to drop. After that, the wind speeds up. Wispy, hair-like clouds appear in the sky. 18 hours before the hurricane makes it to the shore, the sky opens up and it starts to pour. The rainwater often floods low-lying areas, welling up to 15 feet. When the hurricane is 12 hours away, a powerful gale starts to bring along loose debris. 6 hours before the landfall, the wind speed is already 90 miles per hour. It's strong enough to break and even uproot trees, fling around large debris, and flip cars. By the way, let's say you're sailing and there are some sharks circling your boat. Keep an eye on them. If the predators suddenly leave you alone and head for deep water, it might mean a hurricane is drawing closer. Get back to dry land as fast as you can and warn others. If during a period of heavy rains, you hear a roaring sound, it might be a flash flood moving in your direction. If you're near a river at that moment, you might see debris coming down with the flow. The water can be changing its color and becoming cloudier and darker. These signs should set alarm bells ringing in your head. If your gut feeling is right, you have no time to waste. Try to get away from that place as fast as you can. Flash floods are often lethal. If you're out in the wild, pay attention to the water in creeks, streams, and rivers. If it's falling or rising rapidly, it might be a sign a landslide is about to happen. And if you see the water turn muddy, don't wait for more evidence. Get out of the area immediately.
Hey buddy, looks like you had some fun in the great outdoors. As adorable as those paw prints look, your mama still needs to clean them. Spreading soda over the carpet and then vacuuming it works like magic for such cases. Artistic people can be messy sometimes. No judgment here, I know it's all part of the creative process. But this hack will actually help save time from cleaning only to paint more. I think that's more than enough laundry detergent. Yep, she agrees with me. There's a way to make sure he uses the right amount next time. Just put the ice tray in the freezer and you'll have yourself jelly detergent cubes. Hey, this'll save you money too, you know. Cleaning your brushes is such a bore. It's definitely something that tests one's patience. This shaving foam hack will save you a lot of time. I feel like that amount of hair will clog the sink though. Remember what parents always say, wash your hands before eating something. But looks like that's not an easy task with those melted soap bars. A couple of rubber bands will help you save your soap. It won't be touching water all the time, and therefore, it'll last longer. Oh man, I hate it when bottles get all dirty inside. If you're not Mr. Fantastic with the ability to stretch your body into any shape, then this looks like an impossible task. Hey, wait, maybe I was looking at it the wrong way. Magneto's powers will work perfectly fine here. I feel like you'll need a stronger magnet, however. Wow, this bottle looks brand new now! Don't you just hate that cooking and cleaning takes forever, but eating the dish you made takes like 15 minutes? Guess that guy leaves all the hard work to the lady. Don't worry, miss, there's a way you can avoid this disaster. Just cover the surfaces with stretch film, and that's it! Now you don't need to get anxious about all the cleaning you'll have to do later. Hope this won't cause you to be late for your work. Because how are you going to explain this to your boss? You can't just say, I had to wait for the stinky odor to go away. It's always a real struggle to get the corners, am I right? But it's nothing a couple of straws can't fix. No dust left behind is the motto. You can firmly clean all the nooks and crannies that the regular vacuum head can't get to. If you're a jar collector like I am, then you already got everything you'll need for this hack. This is what being smart looks like, everyone. By the way, looks like you've been postponing doing the dishes for a while now, huh? Don't worry, no judgments. We've all been there. Those toothbrushes were basically swimming in there. But the glass filling up with water is inevitable, really. However, Orbeez balls can make the process a lot slower. Somebody needs to replace the paper towel. But don't head to the store just yet. I suggest you ditch paper towels altogether and go for this reusable option. You'll be saving a lot of bucks. Thank me later. Whoa, have you been collecting dirty makeup sponges or what? Don't use them until they're all clean, otherwise I'm pretty sure they'll give you pimples. Looks like this is gonna take a while. But the satisfaction you'll get once you see them all clean will be worth it. These kind of look like Easter eggs to me. By the way, do you really need that many sponges to do your makeup? It's all fun and games until someone spills all the glitter on the floor. Worry not, we got you. Hey, good to see you recycling. No, you don't need a bigger bin, trust me. All you need is to know this one hack. And let's get this one thing straight. I know this is science, but it sure feels like magic. Honey, I shrunk the trash. Look at the difference here. It's a relief to see you don't have a pile of dirty dishes like the lady before. But how are you going to explain that sink? Seems like you've been ignoring it for quite some time now. That's why you need something strong to scrub there. But I have a better solution, one that won't tire you. Just apply a coat of dish soap and soda mixture all around the sink and wait. I wouldn't believe how it works wonders if I didn't see it with my own eyes. You're gonna hurt your back and knees cleaning like this. You know, robot vacuum cleaners don't need coffee breaks, right? So put that thing to work. In the meantime, you can just relax and maybe even start reading the book you bought 6 months ago. No matter how many times you clean the stove, it always gets dirty at the end of the day, right? Well, not anymore. Hey, I think I'm gonna give this a try using glitter glue. It'll help make things more fun. You should have bought a trash bin with a lid. To avoid the awful stench, you know? Although this hack won't make the trash smell good or anything, it will at least help keep your bin fresh and nice. I know this is not a food hacks video, but that doesn't stop me from wanting some snacks now. Even if you're too old to play with slimes, it might be a good idea to keep one at home for stuff like this. If I were you, I would still disinfect that with antibacterial wipes or something, just in case. Hey, it's her turn to pick the movie now. Uh-oh, someone's forgotten to add laundry powder to the shopping list. That's okay, you can still make your own with everyday things, such as baking soda and a soap bar. This lady is one of the lucky ones because she has a dishwasher. Placing a piece of lemon, even one that's been juiced, will help freshen the load and leave your dishes looking shinier. This is why I never wear white socks if I'm going to visit someone else's house. Because I don't really want to see how dirty their floors might be, you know? Using bleach for situations like this may help, but it might also ruin your garments. That's why this hack is the better option to make white clothes look great again. You might want to clean the microwave after you're done, though. This phone case looks like it's been through some tough stuff. Let's give it the second chance it deserves. All you need to do is apply WD-40 spray, pour some soda, and rinse it out. By the way, if you have sensitive skin, you might want to wear protective gloves to avoid irritation. Better safe than sorry. Cleaning stubborn stains on a glass stovetop can be tricky. There's always the risk of causing scratches on the surface. That's why any type of scrubbing or scraping action is not advised. Did you know that according to one poll, an average person spends more than 6 days a year washing dishes? Then there's all the other cleaning stuff that needs to be done. But knowing the right hacks will save you a lot of time and make your life so much easier. Wow, your shoes are definitely cleaner than this house. Who knew shoelaces would work like a charm when it comes to getting rid of all the dust and rust? Is it time to go to bed yet, or are you tired of all the work you've done around the house? I was being sarcastic. Your partner did all the work. So saving her toothbrush is the least you can do.
Here's how you can protect your bank card from potential fraudsters. Use a marker and cover the last 4 digits. You can also use a sticker that's easy to remove and place it over the security code. Have you had a house guest that didn't use a coaster? Get a hairdryer and hold it a couple of inches away from the stain. Blow it on medium heat for a couple of minutes to evaporate the watermark. If a faded ring remains, mix equal amounts of vinegar and olive oil in a bowl. Wipe it onto the marked area and rub it in until the stain disappears. Then wipe it off. Don't waste time scrubbing the burnt stains off the bottom of a pan. Instead, fill it with water and add 3 tablespoons of salt. Let it sit overnight as the salt dissolves the burnt marks, and in the morning, pour the water out of the pan. This way, it will be much easier to scrub all that grease off. Picture this. You're on vacation and your shirt has become all crinkled inside the luggage. You need it tonight, but the hotel doesn't have an iron. Don't panic. Hang the shirt up in the bathroom, and while you relax in a hot shower, the heat and moisture will unwrinkle your shirt. It won't be perfect, but it will get much better without any effort. The football is on, and it turns out you've run out of standard batteries. You can use a smaller battery instead that easily fits inside. Now take some aluminum foil and crunch it up. Fit it into the gap on the negative or flat end of the battery. All done. You can turn on the TV now. Once your flip-flops crack and the plug easily slips out of the hole, it's normally a sign that you need a new pair. But there's a way to extend their mileage. Push the plug back through the hole, then take a bread clip and attach it to the end. The clip will provide enough support for the plug to remain in place. You've received a package and the receipt is taped on. You've managed to detach it from the box. But how to separate the tape without ripping the paper? Hold both ends of the tape apart, and by pulling it slowly, the tape stretches and separates itself from the paper without tearing it apart. Ziploc bags are perfect to keep things dry, but it would be great if they were larger. Take 2 and turn one of them inside out. They can now connect and work as one large bag, big enough to protect a keyboard. There's no need to carry your keys in your hand when you go for a jog. Instead, put them inside your pocket, take a rubber band, then tie it around the pocket from the inside. This stops the keys from falling out. You've broken your key in the door. It's stuck. Great. Arranging for a locksmith could cost up to $100, but for a cheaper and quicker option, try using a hot glue stick. Heat the end with a lighter, and once it's warm enough to melt, push the glue into the keyhole. The melted glue will enter the available space, covering part of the key. Once it cools, it compresses and gains a strong hold of the key's end. Now, just pull it out. If you need to siphon liquid through a hose and want to avoid using your mouth, put one end in the liquid and hold the other upwards with your thumb closing the top. Now shake up and down. This jiggle motion pushes liquid upwards, a little each time. And once it reaches the top, lower the exit point and let gravity do the rest. You've left your keys locked inside the car. It's an older model with a roll-down window. You could get the coat hanger and begin the long process of finding the lock. Or use duct tape. Make about 20 2-foot-long strands. Stick them onto the window, allowing enough room for the tape to grab onto at the bottom. Then with a friend, take the ends of the tape, holding them together, and pull downwards. The force will allow the window to lower enough that you can unlock the door. While drilling long screws into hardwood, your old drill might not have enough power, leaving them only halfway in. Before the drill gives up, get a block of wax and scrape the edges of the screws with it. The wax works like a lubricant, melting as it gets warm and providing easy entry for the screw. You're out camping, but you didn't bring anything to light the barbecue. Take a small plastic bag that won't leak, fill it up with water, and close it tight, making a round bubble. Hold it over where you want to catch the light from the sun. The bag of water will work like a magnifying glass, starting up the barbecue, just as long as it's a sunny day. Missing a corkscrew or a cork breaking halfway? By using a stove lighter, heat the top of the bottle. The heat slightly expands the glass, and this forces the cork out the top. You've superglued your fingers again. Take some salt and pour it on top of your stuck fingers. Put your fingers into the water and slowly rub. The mixture will dissolve the glue and release you in no time. While hanging up a painting, it can be impossible to find that stubborn nail. Place a fork upside down and insert it so the nail is in between the middle fork teeth. The fork has provided a long arm that's separated from the wall, making it easier to slip the string of the painting over the nail. Once it's perfectly balanced, simply remove the fork. You need to put a cake into a container, but taking it out again later by lifting it up from the inside might ruin the cake. Put the lid upside down, and place the cake on the lid. The base of the container is now the lid, making it much easier to access, slice by slice. Pour out water more efficiently from large jugs and bottles by swirling. This will make the liquid inside spin, creating a vortex. The vortex allows for the air to flow back into the bottle as the water pours out, much faster than the glugging alternative. There's an easier and less messy way to remove eggshells from a boiled egg. Once fully boiled, crack the shell on both ends by tapping them. On one end, pinch off the shell. Use the opened end to blow with your mouth. The force of air will push the flesh and expand the eggshell, forcing out the egg undamaged. When the hinges of your laptop break, repairing them can cost up to $300. A far cheaper fix is to buy a picture frame and tape it to the back of the screen. You've dropped a small piece of jewelry on the floor, seemingly impossible to find. Take a stocking and place it over the end of the vacuum hose. Give the area a good vacuum and check the end periodically. You will eventually find it sitting at the end. You've drilled a hole in the wall, but the drill hole is now too wide. Remove the screw and find an object that is slightly shorter and thinner. Pieces of plastic, small wires, paper clips, or even toothpicks are perfect. Place whichever item you find inside the hole. It's filled the gap enough so the screw will now re-enter securely. Taking the trash out can put you in a gross scenario of getting bin juice on you. A great way to avoid this is by placing old papers at the bottom of the bag. Now, not only does it absorb all the liquids from the food and other sources, but also helps prevent bad smells from forming within a bin. Nobody likes mosquitoes, and pesticides are pricey. A cheap alternative is to take a plastic bottle and cut the top part off from the bottom of the funnel. After removing it, turn it upside down and put it inside the bottle. Mix 2 cups of warm water with 2 tablespoons of sugar. The mosquitoes will be attracted to the formula inside and become trapped. Now just sit back and relax without getting bitten.
Ready to discover some life hacks that are low-key useful, but high-key strange and ridiculous? Well, let's go! You wake up feeling brave and dangerous. You're going to wear an all-white shirt on your morning walk to work whilst drinking your Americano, but the plan backfires as you spill the coffee all over yourself. So, you've instantly just gone from feeling like a ferocious polar bear to a helpless white furry puppy. But no worries, all you need is a black marker. Make sure it's not permanent and a world map. Find a place that shows you a set of islands. Hey, why not use the Bahamas? Now, add some contouring using your marker. Write the word Bahamas outside of the stains. And voila! Those coffee stains on your shirt now represent one of the most famous sets of islands in the world. You've just transformed a fashion disaster into a funky, stylish masterpiece. Now, go get yourself another coffee. Have you ever looked up at the moon, convinced that there was a face looking back at you? Most of us have, which is weird given that the moon is nearly 250,000 miles away from Earth. This supposed face, of course, is just an illusion. It's shaped by the dark splotches of lunar maria. These are smooth plains formed by the lava of ancient volcanic eruptions. I want to show you a life hack that will allow you to feel like this famous face of the moon. All you need is an empty roll of toilet paper and your phone. Oh, and that beautiful face of yours. Simply put your face near the hole of the toilet roll and your phone beneath the bottom hole. All that's left to do is snap a picture and take a peek. Next up, are you a snacker? I mean, you just can't stand going into business meetings or classrooms where you're not supposed to eat. I might have found a solution if you're someone who likes Jesus. All you need is a chapstick tube, an empty one. Simply fill up the empty tube with cheese, and just like that, you have a discreet cheese dispenser at your mercy. Now, it's estimated that over 65% of people use lip balm. Some use it daily, others carry it around with them just in case their lips get dry. Who's going to suspect you're actually munching on cheese if you pull a lip balm container out? On average, for those who manage to actually fall asleep on planes, 61% will experience a below-average sleep. A lot of people have trouble falling asleep there altogether. But it's not impossible if you can replicate a sound sleeping environment. I present to you a sleeping mask. Just grab a hair bobble, bring all of your long hair to the front, and tie it as normal. It's literally like having a set of curtains over your face, which is what we need since the absence of light will send a signal to our bodies that it's time to rest. Now, according to research, 2 out of every 3 Americans name popsicles among their favorite foods to eat during the summer. Who can blame them? It's delicious. The only problem? How quickly it melts. But I've got something that's going to help out all of us popsicle lovers. All you need is a popsicle of your choice and a cupcake wrapper. That's right. When you take your popsicle out of the freezer, it's in a solid state because the particles that conform to it are together. As the heat increases, which in 99% of cases is the moment it leaves the freezer, these particles begin to loosen and melt. With each drip from your popsicle comes a tear from your eye. Now it's time to wipe those tears away. All you have to do is pop the popsicle stick through the cupcake wrapper. The wrapper will then catch any of the drips that drop from your popsicle, or any tears of joy that drops from your face. Let them soak in the wrapper while you soak up the sun and enjoy your popsicle carefree. Now, 1 in every 3 Super Bowl parties have chips laid out for their guests. And there's a good chance you might serve some to your friends that are currently on their way over. But what flavor will they like? If you only have one kind of potato chip brand at your house, no problem. Let's spice this up. To give your friends a wide range to choose from, you're going to lay them out in a muffin tin. Just fill each hole with a different type of condiment. Your friends are going to think you're the best host ever. Research has revealed that salsa is often the most popular dipping sauce, followed by French onion and guacamole. So make sure you don't forget to lay these out on that muffin tin. Ever get home from a long day of work, excited to have a steaming hot bath? There's just one problem. Your bathtub is missing its bath plug. Don't panic, I have a solution. Dip back into your party supplies and you'll be dipping into a nice hot bath in no time. You just need to get your hands on a balloon. But stop, don't fill it up with oxygen. Instead, simply fill it up with water and tie a knot on the balloon. Oh, and resist that urge to throw it at someone. Now, go put the water balloon in place of the bath plug. Make sure you fit it nicely and firm. You can check it by turning on the tap to see if the water begins to fill. If it does, it means it's time for you to finally enjoy that hot bath you wanted. Now, would you like to make it the best bath ever by having a beverage of your choice floating beside you throughout? Let me show you how. Go back outside to your car. Actually, put your clothes back on first. I promise you'll be back inside for that bath soon. Grab your phone holder from inside the car. Run back to your bathroom and stick it against the wall by the bathtub. Position it in a way that will fit the glass containing your drink. Make sure the holder's secure, as I'm confident you don't want to be bathing in spilled Coca-Cola. Now that you've ensured this, I'll leave you to enjoy this much-delayed bath and move on to the next life hack. Speaking of beverages, those cans of soda you just bought get warm way too fast. Let me help you out. Quickly pop to a nearby store and buy some ice. Then just find an empty cardboard box and a plastic bag. Open up the box and then cover it with the plastic bag as if you're going to use it as a trash can. Then get your ice and pour the necessary amount inside the box. All of a sudden, you have a fully functioning drink cooler at your disposal. Go grab those cans of soda and put them inside it. Check back in a few minutes to find them nice and cold. In the meantime, just enjoy the sun. Sometimes, as you're going for a walk, you'll encounter surfaces such as muddy trails and forests that have the potential to ruin your shoes. Even if they're walking shoes, you still want them to look good, right? Well, let me show you a trick to keep those sneakers of yours sparkling. Once more, all you need is a balloon. Blow the balloon up and keep the air hole clutched with your hand so as to keep it inflated. Put the balloon on the ground, keeping the air hole covered, and put your hand inside your shoe. You heard that right, hand, not foot. Then press down on the balloon with the shoe. This will cause the balloon to deflate, and once finished, it will be tightly wrapped around the bottom of your shoe. This will act as a perfect form of protection against any dirty surfaces you'll be walking over on your travels. Now just do the same with your other shoe, and away you go. Now when you get home, you'll probably be so excited to get inside, kick your feet up, and relax. This is why struggling through all the keys on your keyring upon arriving is so annoying and tiresome. Well, don't worry, I've got an easy and satisfying fix that will make this process much more instant moving forward. All you need is some nail polish. Well, a couple of different colors. Designate a specific color for each key and get painting. Then just let the paint dry off for a bit. When it's done drying, you have a new color-coded set of keys to your name. Convenient, isn't it?
Hello, your luxury bag package has arrived. We have a super romantic recipe for you. It'll especially be great for Valentine's Day or your someone special's birthday. Breakfast could not get any cuter than this. Now this hack is going to take your veggie sandwiches to a whole other level. Just be careful with the boiling hot oil. Fill the fried dough pocket with your favorite vegetables and bon appetit! Oh, this video is making me hungry already. You might want to write down the ingredients in your recipe book for this one. You know, just to remember everything later. One color is not enough, by the way. If you want this cookie to be a joyful burst of color, that is. Don't worry, the colors are going to be bright and gorgeous after they're baked. Make sure not to burn them. I somehow always manage to do that. Cookies and milk, everyone? Potatoes must be one magical vegetable, wouldn't you agree? Because there are probably more than 1,000 different dishes you can make with them. And they're all delicious. There are two types of people at a cafe, those who get a slice of cake or those who get a cookie. But I personally get both. Talk about having a sweet tooth, am I right? We already made colorful cookies, so why not make a rainbow cake now? Are you throwing a big party at your home soon? Then this dish is just for you. Because it's super easy to prepare, it's big, it's filling, and it's delicious. Oh, and did I mention it probably would take 15 minutes to prepare? Look at the cheese melt. Makes my mouth water. I could eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Vegetables have a bad reputation, you know. Most people think they're boring and tasteless. But we're here to fix that common misconception. Something can be both nutritious and yummy at the same time. Take these carrot rolls, for example. They could be a great alternative if you're not fond of eating sushi. Just make sure to dip them in soy sauce for the full experience. Here's a quick meal you can prepare just with everyday breakfast items that you already have in your fridge. And it's super fresh and healthy. Perfect dinner for hot summer nights if you ask me. Add the topping of your choice and enjoy. Another example of how vegetables are tasty gifts from Mother Nature. This kind of looks like a forest, wouldn't you agree? The key here is to leave no empty space behind. By the way, having a good oven is key if you want to experiment in the kitchen. Let's say it's the middle of the night. There's no takeout place left open, but you're craving some fast food. This is just the recipe for that. Come on, admit it, you thought this was going to be a version of pizza, right? Anyone want crunchy pasta? This is healthier than store-bought chips, you know. By the way, here's a fun fact about pasta that not many people know. The first reports of people eating pasta actually came from China. Speaking of sausages, I'm on a fun fact roll here, so here's one about hot dogs for you. The world record for hot dog eating is 76. Let's just hope the person who broke it was okay after eating them. Anyway, back to our delicious hot dog egg crepes. Well, if you have a better name for these, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. From the looks of it, that avocado needs a bit more time to ripen up. But since it's going into the blender, that shouldn't be a big problem. I suggest you blend that for a couple of minutes to achieve a smooth paste with no clumps. I assume that's cream cheese. Who needs a dipping bowl, am I right? Great for Super Bowl season. You won't need to do the dishes after having guests over. I prefer my popcorn with melted butter. Well, that goes for corn on the cob, too. I can already tell this is gonna taste amazing. Hey, they should start selling these in movie theaters as well. This will not be one of your regular fried potatoes, people, trust me. I know you have the urge to cut small cubes, but make sure to keep the potato in one piece. Otherwise, this won't work. Have you ever heard that Cleopatra supposedly took milk baths to keep her skin looking young and healthy? Well, don't get me wrong, these milk ice cubes are not for that. That's one way to cool down coffee. Somebody's making a real mess in the kitchen. Why not put the whole bag in the water? It'll be much safer and cleaner. That's one sharp knife you got there. But here's another way you can use it. Looks like you're gonna have to get your hands dirty. And in some cases, touching raw meat with your bare hands may not be a good idea. That's where this cold water hack comes in handy, pun intended. Sometimes you might not have the time to make dough. In those cases, using bread would work perfectly fine to prepare delicious snacks. You know what? This is not fair. I can't continue my diet plan anymore, especially after learning about incredible recipes like this one. That may look like a plastic sheet, but it's actually rice paper, so very much edible. These chips could be a healthier alternative for your kid's lunch bag. Trust me, there's no way they won't like how these taste. This next quick recipe is going to bring a whole other level to frozen yogurt. We're adding berries here, but feel free to pick any fruit you want. I call these frozen yogurt crackers. Do you have a milk frother at home? If your answer is yes, then great, because that's all you need to prepare instant banana milk for yourself. Yep, you don't even need a glass. You can put them in an ice bowl to keep your drink cold and fresh. Are we making chocolate crepes? Count me invested. By the way, any type of chocolate bar will work for this. The trick here is to have enough oil in the pan as well as to heat it beforehand. Add some powdered sugar on top to make it look like it's out of the hands of a Michelin star chef. This is the stuff that dreams are made of. Something sweet? Check. Now it's time for another savory recipe. You can use both mashed or grated potatoes to make this one. The choice is up to you. Just make sure they're freshly prepared. Add a cup of flour and an egg. Then cook the mixture until it's golden brown. Your potato waffles are ready to be served.
There's nothing better than a nice piece of buttered toast for breakfast, if we're not counting hot fudge sundaes. But if you find it harder to spread out cold butter over your toast, here's an idea. Use a cheese grater. Figure out the amount you need and grate the product. The process will also soften the butter, making it easier to spread, and you won't have to melt a too large amount of it in the process. But still, that hot fudge. Dried pasta comes in all sorts of different shapes and sizes for a reason. That's because each type of pasta goes best with a particular sauce. Pasta shells, for example, are perfect with denser and chunkier sauces. Why? Because the sauce gets inside the shells, making it easier to serve and eat the dish. The ribbed outer surface also helps with covering the shells in the sauce. If you ever end up burning your cookies, you can save them with your trusty grater too. Just grate off the blackened parts after carefully taking the cookies from the baking tray. But be careful and wait until the cookies have cooled down. Also, if you ruin their shape a bit, you can always dip them in some melted chocolate. Ooh. After the chocolate cools down, you'll have perfectly shaped cookies. Although, after it gets past your lips and beyond, does the shape of the cookie actually matter? Just saying. If you like adding a lot of ingredients to your sandwiches, but don't really appreciate it when the bread gets soggy, there is a way to reduce the amount of moisture. Pick your sliced tomatoes or cucumbers and place them between 2 paper towels for up to 5 minutes. After that, you can use them. Also, make sure to spread butter, cheese, or sauces like mayo or ketchup onto the bread first. This will help you seal the bread and keep moisture at bay. Some people think that the little white string that you find near an egg yolk needs to be removed before you cook the egg. Well, I'm here to tell you that these strands are called chalaza, and you don't actually need to get rid of them. They help keep the yolk in place at the egg center. A chalaza is not going to mess up the consistency or the taste of your food, so removing it is completely up to you. Ever notice that most juice boxes come with 2 flaps, one on each side? Those are actually handles. Manufacturers design the boxes this way to make it easier for us to hold them. This way, we don't end up squeezing the box, making the juice spill out. Now, you don't need to be a baking pro to know that you can use both white and brown sugar in your recipes. But have you ever wondered what the difference between these two is? It turns out that the only thing that sets them apart is that, during production, a small amount of molasses is added to the brown sugar. Molasses is basically a sort of syrup you get when processing sugarcane. It's usually removed during the refining process. That's how white sugar is produced. But if some amount of molasses remains in the final product, we end up with brown sugar, with its specific taste and darker hue. It's a good thing. There are a lot of things you can put in your dishwasher apart from your dishes. For example, you can clean such things as your silicone oven mitts or the knobs of some kitchen appliances, like your oven or stove. Some kitchen sponges and reusable towels may be safe to clean in the dishwasher as well. Speaking of kitchen cleaning products, there are a lot of things you can do with dish soap, like degriming your patio furniture. Just add a bit of dish detergent to some warm water and use the solution to wipe down your outdoor furniture with a piece of cloth. Finally, rinse it clean using your garden hose. You can also use dish soap to get rid of greasy stains on your clothes, be it pasta sauce or salad dressings. Hey, sometimes we miss our mouths. So, just apply a little dish detergent to the stain and then rinse with water. Use non-colored soap for lighter clothes. For more difficult stains, let the dish soap sink in for a bit, then throw the piece of clothing in the washer as usual. And think about maybe getting a bib. If none of the methods have helped you organize your closet, and you're still overwhelmed with large piles of clothes, there's a simple way that might be effective. It's called the one-in, one-out rule. That means for every new piece of clothing you buy, you need to get rid of one you already have. That means you'll always be decluttering your space. To make it easier to find something in your closet, good luck. Keep your most used items at eye level. This way they'll be easier to find and pull out when you're in a hurry. Those items that you tend to use less often, like your evening clothes for example, can stay on the shelves above or below your eye level. You can make good use of old spice tins. If you glue some powerful magnets to the inside of the tins, they can double as magnetic shelves. You can use them for all sorts of everyday items, like kitchen pliers, ice cream scoops, or even cutlery. You can also place them on any metallic surface, like your refrigerator door. They'll blend in nicely with your kitchen magnets. Hidden in your laundry room, there's a great tool for picking up pet hair. It sometimes works better than lint rollers. Take a dryer sheet and, using some elbow grease, you'll get rid of that dog or cat hair in no time. It works on all sorts of surfaces, but it's especially effective for upholstered furniture. Now, if you don't like it when a door starts squeaking whenever you enter a room, get a bar of soap and rub it straight on the hinges. This will only help for a while though, but it'll do the trick until you manage to get to a hardware store and, buy some oil. Have you ever noticed that in some elevators there's a star next to the number of a specific floor? No, it's not to indicate where my office is. It's there to point out where the nearest exit is. And it's not always on the first floor. It's most likely located on the floor closest to the street. Have you ever wondered why stop signs are red? Well, back in the day, they didn't actually have any particular color at all. Before the 1920s, they didn't even have a standardized shape. In 1922, though, someone came up with the octagon, but initially it was painted yellow, all because the red coloring tended to fade out too quickly because of sun exposure. So yellow turned out to be the best option. It took another 30 years for fade-resistant enamel paint to be invented. We ended up changing the color of the stop sign back to red. After all, it's still the best color if you want something to be easily noticeable. Do you know there's a type of rose that can grow taller than people? According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the tallest rose bush ever found grew in Vienna, Austria. It was a staggering 28.5 feet tall. Yes, it arose to a great height. In the same way we all have unique patterns on our fingerprints, no two tigers have the same set of stripes. It makes it easier for people working with this feline species to distinguish one tiger from another. I'll bet you didn't know the White House has its own flower shop hidden in the basement of the building. It's supposed to provide flower arrangements for all sorts of events that take place there. It's probably no surprise that pizza has become an American staple dish despite its Italian origin. People in the U.S. love it so much that they buy 350 slices of pizza every second in the States. Man, I'm not getting my fair share. To manage the huge demand for this delicious dish, around 17% of all restaurants in the U.S. are pizzerias. Finally, there's a way to make lemon juice without the seeds getting into your beverage. Try cutting the fruit in two and squeezing it with a pair of kitchen tongs. The pointed end of the lemon should be facing down. The juice will flow down, but the seeds will remain inside the lemon. Ooh, lemonade. It goes well with pizza. If you ever find yourself stuck in the trunk of your car, stay calm. All cars are supposed to be equipped with an emergency latch to help open the trunk from the inside in the unlikely case it happens. These latches are so well thought out that they can be opened by people of all ages. More so, handles are designed to glow in the dark, too. You can even pull them with the mouth if there's not enough wiggle room to use your hands. Never mind how you ended up in the trunk in the first place. Moving on. If you're ever working with needle and thread, remember you don't need to stick the needle directly into the spool. You may end up losing the needle altogether. Not to mention you can easily hurt your fingers. A lot of modern sewing kits these days come with a designated place for safeguarding the needles. It's located at the bottom part of the thread spool. You'll just need to pull it out. It's even made to hold multiple sewing needles at a time. Disposable ballpoint pens come with a little secret of their own. Did you ever notice that in some of them there's a small hole in the plastic part? It's actually a rudimentary ventilation system. It's supposed to let the ink easily make it to the tip of the pen. Okay, I know it's in the name, but you really don't need to shake the seasoning shaker to get any product out. Don't believe me? Hey, you're not the only one. Go grab your favorite seasoning bottle out of your pantry. If it has one of those removable plastic caps, it's perfect for the experiment. Instead of shaking the bottle, try holding it from the plastic cap while it's upside down. Now, gently twist the bottle from side to side and, before you know it, you get some gorgeously flowing seasoning without having to wiggle the shaker and make a mess all over the stove. On the same note, most salt and pepper shakers should have ridges on the bottom of the glass portion. In case you get any seasoning stuck in there, place the bottom of the salt shaker against the bottom of the pepper shaker and wiggle it around so the ridges click with each other. The seasoning should easily pour out now without you having to open the bottle. In colder weather, you often have so many clothing layers on you that you can hardly feel the purse or back straps on your shoulder anymore. Not to mention how fast they can slide off. Some jackets come with a built-in solution for that, in the form of a small tab on the shoulder with either a hook or a button. It's meant to be opened and closed comfortably, so you can keep your purse in place at any time. You're most likely using it merely to peel the skin of potatoes, carrots, or cucumbers. But you can use your vegetable peeler for chopping fine strips of onion as well. Just cut the onion into quarters vertically and then start slicing. This might also help out with those embarrassing onion tears. Most people miss this one, but should you ever have a closer look at your toothpaste tube, you will surely see some sort of coloring there, either a dot or a block. Colors can vary. They can be black, green, red, or even blue. These color spots are actually meant to help the assembly machines back at the toothpaste factory. They recognize when and where these machines need to cut the toothpaste tubes and proceed to fold them for packaging. For most types of footwear, if there's anything that seems a bit out of place, always know that it's there for a reason. Most manufacturers don't put extra items on shoes just for fun. It would definitely be a waste of time and resources. For footwear like boots, for example, there's often a small loop at the top back of the shoe. It's there to help you when you need to put the shoe on, since you can quickly pull on it. Plus, you can also hang the shoes somewhere, most likely to dry, since most boots are meant to be worn in the colder weather. Now, I've been guilty at least once of overdressing with a bunch of layers just so I won't need to jam everything in my check-in bag. But does it become a problem when you actually have to get seated? What do you do with your coat or your jacket? Well, have a closer look next time you board a plane on the seat in front of you. The hook that keeps the tray table upright can double as a jacket hook. As long as you don't need to have any meals while in the air, you're good to go. Now, most mascaras expire within 3 to 6 months, I'm told, depending on the manufacturer. But you can help speed up that process if you're not careful enough. Continuously pumping the mascara wand, trying to mix in the product, actually pushes more air into the tube. This can make it dry much faster, and you evidently won't get the desired results with it anymore. There's an easy way to check if your mascara is still good enough to use. If you don't hear a popping noise when you take the brush out, you may very well need to go get yourself a new mascara tube. Now, I know we're living in the era of Bluetooth-connected devices, but for better quality sound, they still recommend using headphones that connect via audio jacks. Remember seeing black ridges on those jacks? They aren't there just to make them fit when you plug them into your phone or laptop. Made out of a special insulating material, these bands are meant to guard the wires when sound is being transmitted. Based on the number of bands, you can figure out which end goes where. Some empty space under noodles in a cup doesn't mean the company producing them wants to cheat you out of a full portion. No. It's a manner of keeping the noodles intact during their transportation. It also helps with the circulation of hot water that is poured over the products before you can enjoy them. The V-shaped neckline was initially designed to serve a bunch of objectives. First, as a way of prolonging the life of the garment that would maintain its shape over the years. It's also there to fit your head through the shirt in case it needs some stretching. This way, it ensures a snugger grip around the neck. Lastly, it helps absorb sweat in case you're wearing the shirt while exercising. Now, it's not necessarily a custom anymore, but you may have stumbled upon a dinner jacket with an additional mysterious pocket on the right side. Turns out, this pocket was used by men to easily reach their train tickets, since most of them had to travel to work every day. It helped them keep their jacket buttoned up, but also benefited from the use of a pocket. Now it's only added as a decoration, and it doesn't serve an actual purpose anymore. Speaking of things we don't use these days, or at least for their initial purpose, did you know Play-Doh was originally a cleaning product? In the 1920s, the market was in need of a product that could help them wipe the wallpapered areas around coal-burning furnaces. The recipe for what we now know as Play-Doh was thus invented. It was manufactured in white only and was supposed to clean wallpaper by being rolled back and forth over the dirt. It was only later, in the 1940s, that new products for cleaning wallpaper were brought up, and Play-Doh was redirected toward another area of the market. Now, while I enjoy a nice piece of toast for breakfast, isn't it pesky to have to clean out the toaster? Well, not anymore, since I recently found out that toasters have a slide or a panel at the bottom that helps get rid of all those annoying breadcrumbs easily. Now, there used to be a time when you could only have access to video games by inserting cartridges in your console of choice. These tiny objects gave many doctors a lot of headaches. People soon started popping up in hospitals after swallowing small game cartridges, especially the younger generation. Nintendo, the company that manufactures the majority of these devices, had to come up with a creative solution to prevent these accidents. So these days, Nintendo Switch cartridges are purposely coated with specific chemicals that can leave a really bad bitter taste in the mouth. Not that I'd, recommend you ever try and taste for yourself.
Want to pour yourself a drink before we begin? Just make sure not to grab the glass with your palm. Yep, that's right. The glass has a stem for a reason. Touching the glass bowl with your hands will alter the drink's temperature, and it will get warmer much sooner. While we're in the kitchen, let's check out your fridge. Most of those come with designated areas in the door shelves for eggs, but this may not be the best solution for storing them. The temperature in the door shelves tends to be a bit higher than in the fridge itself, so it's not the best place to store delicate types of food, like eggs or dairy. Make sure to remember that after your next trip to the supermarket. Also, while we're still browsing items in the fridge, did you know that waiting for food to cool down before refrigerating it may be bad for it? Keeping food at room temperature for more than 2 hours can increase its chances of going bad. So, pop it in as soon as possible. Just make sure to divide your food into smaller batches to help it cool down quicker. What's that in your fridge I just saw? Chocolate? Well, that's a big no-no. Regardless of the season, remember to never store chocolate in the fridge. The lower temperatures inside can cause the chocolate flavor to dull. Also, who wants to eat rock-hard chocolate anyway? When it comes to breakfast, next time you boil an egg, try putting a teaspoon of baking soda into the water when boiling. The eggshells will peel off way easier. Another tip is to crack the egg on one end and run it under the tap. The water stream will help peel off the shell faster and with way less of a mess. Fan of smoothies? Bet you didn't know there's actually a correct way to load up your blender. Start with the liquids, then pile up the solids as you go. The motion created by the movement of the liquids will ensure a smooth, clump-free, delicious breakfast or snack. After that, you can clean it by simply adding some dishwashing soap and some water and letting it blend away. No need to add it to the dishwasher anymore, since the full cycle of the dishwasher can damage the metal plates on the blender. If you're ever in the mood for a peanut butter sandwich, but the peanut butter is all split with the oils on top, remember, there's a correct way to store it. Placing the peanut butter jar upside down in your cupboard will ensure the oils are spread out evenly. Love a good steak but never get a perfect consistency? You're probably digging in too soon. You have to let the meat rest after cooking for at least 10 minutes before you start cutting it. Using the right knife will also give you better results. A sharp knife will ensure you don't lose any of those lovely meat juices. It's pasta night. Ever wondered why there's a hole in the middle of the spaghetti spoon? Turns out you can use that hole to check how much pasta to cook per person. Now you know exactly how much of it to boil for that special marinara sauce of yours. When using non-stick pans, never use metal utensils. Go for wooden or plastic ones instead. The metal will be way too rough on the surface of your pans and can actually damage the non-adherent surface. Are you a leftovers for dinner type of person? Aren't we all? Quick tip for reheating your dinner in the microwave. Try spreading the food around the edges of the plate. Microwaves are indeed designed to heat food as evenly as possible, but not if the food is piled up. Ever try to take out a single Tic Tac from the tiny container? Just turn the box on its side. There's a cleverly designed slot on the plastic top precisely for that. No more shaking the Tic Tac box like a maniac. If you're up for some music but don't have a speaker around, don't worry. Placing your phone in a cup or bowl will amplify the sound and make your experience so much better. In a hurry, and your phone is running out of battery, there's a simple way to reduce the charging time. Simply set the phone to airplane mode. You'll see, it'll charge up to 100% in no time. We all keep our phones in all sorts of places, our pockets, bags, under our pillows. Hence, a lot of fuzz or lint can get stuck in the charging port. For safety reasons, turn the phone off before cleaning it. You can use specifically designed tools for cleaning the charging ports, speakers, or microphone. Just be sure to be gentle. Nice desk you got there. Did you know that those little legs on the back of the keyboard are actually there to help you see the keys better? However, if you can type without having to look at the keyboard, don't use them to lift the keyboard up. This position can damage your wrists when using for a long period of time. If you like to keep your things organized and prefer to use sticky notes, just make sure to remove them from the notes cube from side to side to prevent curling. We all feel a little overwhelmed when it comes to storage, especially linens. One easy way to make sure you'll never get mixed sheets is to store each set in the matching pillowcase. Not only will you get easy access to each set, but it's way nicer to look at on the shelves. When it comes to storing clothing, people use wooden hangers for more than just aesthetic reasons. They may be bigger and heavier than plastic ones, but they also help repel moths. Keep that in mind, more so when storing winter clothes. Were you ever curious about that one extra loophole in your running shoes? That one just next to your ankles? Well, turns out it's there for a reason. The tighter the laces on your shoes, the less likely you are to get blisters. Always fit your shoes correctly and use that extra loop in the shoes if needed before you go for a run. Your dress shirts have a tiny secret too. On the inside of the shirt, right between the shoulders, there's a tiny loop that you can use to hang the garment whenever you don't have a hanger lying around. Nothing can ruin a good vacation more than unorganized baggage. To make sure you never have to stuff your luggage with a huge pile of random clothes, instead of folding, try rolling your stuff and placing it neatly in the baggage. This way, you save a lot of space. You have easy access to everything you need, and your clothes will be less wrinkled. Not to be intrusive, but there's a bunch of things I'd like to show you in the bathroom as well. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds each time to get rid of all the germs. To save the effort, open and close the tap with your wrist if possible. There you go. Squeaky clean hands for a longer period of time. Always brush your hair from the bottom if you want to get rid of any knots. Brushing your hair from the top will only cause more damage. When it's time to wash your hair, be sure to concentrate the shampoo on the scalp. Be careful though, never to apply the shampoo directly to your head. Lather it a bit with some water between your hands before you start massaging it in. You can skip shampooing the lengths of your hair unless they're really dirty. The foam that goes down from your scalp is sufficient to clean that portion. Take good care of your loofah as well. Leaving it in a moist, warm shower can increase its chances of gathering all sorts of nasty bacteria. Either throw it in with your laundry once a week, or let it soak in a solution with diluted bleach. We're sure you always moisturize after your shower, but there's a correct way to do that too. Don't add too much cream on your face, and make sure to tap, not rub it in. Your skin will thank you for it. You don't have to be a dentist to know how important flossing is. Next time, try tying your floss in a knot. With the added tension and grip, your teeth will be cleaner in no time.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.